Eichel over that sets up Nick Lofton's walk-off hit for the Royals to now guarantee a series win. Now they're going for a sweep tonight against the Pirates. All that is a great positive sign for your faith in whether or not the offense can keep up with what they've done for the last week or so. And that still is my number one thing. I said it yesterday. I think, Cody, they have to do it for a full week or so before I'm going to be convinced that it's not just some flash in the pan or something like that.
I guess a lot of it comes down to this same thing, Gold, that we're running into a little bit, which is we know, and we've known this the entire time, I don't even need them to be the 1927 Yankees. They don't have to be the Bronx Bombers, right? 4 runs was enough last night. 4 runs, a good chunk of this year has been enough every time they've needed to win a game. I haven't done the math, but I'm going to guess that if they had scored 4 runs in every game, that they would be in a wild card spot and would have a winning record because of how many games they lost 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, or whatever else throughout the season. 4 runs has traditionally been their magic number this year and ended up being their magic number last night. And yeah, Nick Lofton looks like the way that this is where I feel like just as long as these guys don't get exposed, I actually don't hate the way they've used guys like Drew Waters or Nick Lofton, in the sense that is, if you need someone to come up and perform for a little bit or be part of a team that performs, well, then great. Nick Lofton is a nice fit. He had a nice game. He's had a nice 2 games to help them get a couple of victories. I don't need them to rely on Nick Lofton every night. As you pointed out, that's still got to be Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi. But, if they're just going to be parts of the puzzle, we're good. The problem is lately, over the last couple of years offensively, those guys have needed to be a bigger part of the equation, and then we run into those things. Honestly, it was nice to get the win after we got the news that Ragans isn't pitching for at least another month. We saw, I kind of thought Michael Massey was close to getting back, and instead they called up Cam Devaney, so maybe that's a post-All-Star break thing for Michael Massey, because he's not doing rehab stuff, but he's also not on the roster. So, he's kind of stuck in no man's land as it relates to kind of the injury stuff. So after a little bit of, I thought, negative news in the early part of the afternoon, maybe the Royals are going to get hot before the All-Star break, and we can start feeling, like you'd said, maybe they got back to 500, you could start buying back in, feeling like, okay, maybe the playoffs are still back in play.
Yeah, as far as Cole Ragans, you brought him up, so let's talk about Ragans for a second. I think yesterday we were mentioning the potential timeline for him, and it was no earlier than August 1st or so. And then you look at the actual timeline, really no earlier than August 7th. And the 60-day, I think some people saw the 60-day IL and said, oh, this means he's for sure done for the season. That's not what that means. Now, if the team is out of it and it's the middle of August, they may choose to say, hey, we're just going to shut him down, Cody. But in terms of the reaction I saw on multiple platforms yesterday, right when the news happened, Cole Ragans is done for the entire season now. That's not true.
No, the 60-day can be, you said retroactive.
It's already factored into it. He was not coming back before the first week or so of August anyway. So this just gives them some roster movement that they need to do on the 40-man and others to make this call-up yesterday for Cam Devaney actually work out.
I wonder whether or not, and I'm not going to get too hung up on that, but the Cole Ragans stuff, especially because they're signing Dallas Keuchel to minor league contract news that took place this morning. If you missed that, the Royals have signed Dallas Keuchel to that contract, as you mentioned. But
Dallas Keuchel and Rich Hill, one of them is pitching in the big leagues for the Royals this year. At some point, Keuchel's in AAA now. He's 37. Rich Hill's 44. I don't know, 45, whatever it is.
67. He might be a senior citizen.
I
not
honestly
a senior
think we need to maybe we can work on it. We need to do a spoof of the Rookie 2, and it can happen in Kansas City. We can make a mini movie.
Because of all the aging players in AAA pitching for them.
Yes.
Let's have Michael Fulmer and some other guys. If you were a former big league pitcher
Bartolo Colon doing?
Who is not currently in the big leagues, please come on down. That side of it has at least been the case. But no, I want to buy back in. I do. I want to buy back in. I absolutely do. But until they get back to 500 or within 2 games of a wild card spot, I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant because of the ground that they had put themselves in to make up. Now, I still know there's a lot of baseball games left. It's crazy that there's almost 70 still, which is so much baseball remaining. So, it's definitely never, and neither of us said it was just over. We were just no longer predicting that was going to be the case, which made us more in the selling camp, thought the team should be more in that mindset. But they also still have, 3 weeks to make that decision? And probably will take. My guess is they'll take pretty much all of that 3 weeks.
Well, because of how they're playing this week so far, in the last 6-7 games, the idea that like they're going to make the big move now in terms of trading away somebody, I think that has been delayed. Like, Seth Lugo, we're going to discuss, as you said, later on this hour and throughout the show. But if you're going to make a move to move on from him, now maybe you are waiting longer. And if you think by the end of this week they somehow get back to 500,
it sounds like to me, you guys, and again, not that you lost hope in the season being, or the playoff chances being done, but it sounds to me like you don't want to be all the way in again just because you don't want to get heartbroken by the fact that you're all in. And if they don't make the playoffs, then you're fully disappointed again.
I want to see the offense have more than just a 7-day stretch. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing, because it's great how they're playing right now, and they're obviously fun to watch. And last night was great out of Kauffman Stadium. And who doesn't like when your hometown team is winning? But if the offense from Salvi, Vinny, and Bobby disappears again for 5 days, well, they're probably going like 1-4 during that stretch of games, or one, you know what I mean? Like, and all of a sudden they're back to being 5.5 out and 5 or 6 under 500. Like, it can quickly shift in the other direction again. So I want to, not that they got to go out and win 10 in a row, but I need to see, and this really will also include the first week after the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think so.
Does the offense also, let's say they stay hot heading through Sunday, heading into the All-Star break. Then when they come back next Friday, are those guys hitting still? If they come out the rest of this week and the first series post All-Star break and the offense is what it's been here recently, then you will get me to start believing again that this team has a shot. But just because it's been a week of baseball where the offense has looked like what we thought they were going to look like earlier in the year, no, I'm not shifting back to now I suddenly think that everything is good.
I said the good news, at least, is that they used to have to jump 7 teams, and now they only have to jump 3. But yeah, they're still 3 games below 500, and you and I still think 86, 87, 88 wins is going to be required in order to get into that final wild card spot. And the Mariners are still a good team. The Rays are still a good team. The Yankees are really far ahead of you, at least on the standing still. So, like, it just takes a lot still to, like, think that they're going to turn it around and solve all these problems. Do I think that this is closer? Do I think this team closer represents what I thought the Royals should and would be this year? Yes. 4-3. Specifically, that game last night is exactly who I thought the Royals were this year, or were going to be this year. A team who could get enough runs across to do it, run into some occasional power. Cags helping, obviously, that last night with a 114-mile-per-hour screamer off the bat. Then good bullpen, good starting pitching, and a win. That's what I thought would get them to the 80-plus, the 85 to 90 win mark this year, and get them competing for the division or get them competing for a wild card spot. Now we know that the Tigers are probably one of the 3 best teams in the entire sport this year, so maybe the division was always a bit of a long shot. I can let that one go, but it's why last night is kind of who I thought they should be all season long. And so that part of it at least played into my brain as far as when you're watching that game last night. For me at this point, I'm just kind of hoping that they win every single game going into the All-Star break. And then, like I said, we can all feel really, 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 really good about whether or not, or about where this team is heading. On the Chiefs side of things, I did hear over on Breakfast Ball, where our former coworker Danny Parkins works, Mark Schlereth talk a little bit about where the Chiefs are as it sits right now. And what stood out to me is he's saying something as a negative, and I'll play it for you. But I actually think it would be the ultimate positive if it's true. So it's like, well, they don't fear you the way they used to fear you. Honestly, please. Begging. I would love nothing more than for teams to actually feel that way. Be like, the Chiefs are good, but they're not that good. Please go into every Chiefs game with that mindset instead of playing it like it's your Super Bowl, which is what we've seen every team do the last 3 years. Ravens, Bills, Cincinnati, every divisional game has been treated like it's the biggest game on your schedule. If they want to start taking Kansas City less serious, I don't even take offense. Please, Schlereth, I hope that you're right.
Well, I just love it because it goes back to the entire national conversation we had the other day. Like, people are looking at one game last year, in the biggest game of the year, in fairness, and the ass kicking, and they're now thinking like that's just who the football team is going to be. Like, there's not any good anymore. The team that won 15 games, that has the same quarterback that's gone to 3 straight Super Bowls, the Hall of Fame head coach, a tight end that, while he might not be capable of having a 1,300-yard season, is still, in my opinion, very much capable of having a top 5 to top 7 tight end season easily this upcoming year. The offensive line that truly, like, it can't be worse than last year. It can't. I'm sorry. It can't. It's not going to be. I'm not saying that left tackle is going to be an all-pro, but it's not going to be worse than last year.
It can be equally as bad, but that's really like the basement scenario.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fine, yeah. But like this idea that like teams don't fear him, it is wild. They don't fear him because of what? Because of the one game? Like that is insane to me.
Because their offense was maybe
games.
kind of mediocre last year.
Fine, but they still kicked everybody's ass
Still
for the
won
most
15
part.
games.
They won 15 games. And by the way, I do not care if they won by 1 point or 7. It does not matter. We go back to that whole conversation last year. They won 15 games. Chances are you were losing to that football team last year.
Does that mean you fear him, though? And I'm not even trying to sympathize with him because I think he's wrong in the fact that, like, the Chiefs are winning the division this year. But I don't. To me, I don't know if you can say that they're like. And again, you can just say it just to say it. But if you asked Bo Nix and Sean Payton, hey, are you afraid of the Chiefs at all? Absolutely not, is what they'll probably say.
Well, look,
like,
no player,
that's a stupid thing to say if you're a player. By the way, you should just say yes.
But to me, if you're fearful of
I
that,
disagree with that.
Oh, you're saying like it's cowardly?
I don't.
If you are scared of the team, then you're never going to beat them. You've already lost. If you're fearful of a team, you've already lost.
I 100% agree. Yeah, like I don't think you ever, whether you can respect an opponent. But I'm not expecting Bo Nix and Sean Payton to come out and say, yeah, we fear the heck out of Patrick Mahomes. We don't think we can beat him. Of course not. Nobody's saying they should be thinking that. But this idea of, like, if the national narrative really is that, yeah, people just don't fear them anymore. I agree with you that, Cody, that's fine. Good. I think that goes back to what Patrick Mahomes said the other day with Kay Adams, which is like, yeah, we'll just let everybody do the talking, and basically we're going to go out there and play. And I really think the first 2 weeks of the season are so massive for what we're hearing today. It'll either be that they're 1-1 and they don't look impressive, or 0-2 in some crazy scenario, because I just don't believe they're starting 0-2. Or they're 2-0, they kick the Chargers' ass in Brazil, they come back home, and they get a little bit of revenge, if you will, after getting embarrassed last year in the Super Bowl, and they're 2-0, and people are like, oh, whoops, Patrick Mahomes kind of looks like the guy from 2 years ago, and Rashee Rice is healthy and on the field.
And we maybe slept on him a little bit, and that's a mistake.
That is not a crazy scenario. And then, as I said, people will shift back to it's rigged for the Chiefs again. So it's like you either don't think they should be fearful of them, or the league wants them to win. Which one is it? And basically is what everybody nationally is choosing.
I mean, that's, the text line made that joke. It said, did they win 15 games ago, or they handed 9 games because of the refs? By the way, even if you believed, even if you were the real conspiracy person, you think that the refs help dictate choosing games. They'd never be so obvious to give you 9 of them, Maybe 1 or 2, or maybe in the playoffs. In which case, by the way, they won 18 games last year, not 15. So even if they handed them 9 of them, that's only half. So to win the other 9, which is more than half of the league won. That's the same number of games Cincinnati won last year. So, like, whether the league handled, isn't that crazy? The Chiefs won twice as many football games in the calendar last year in the NFL season as the Cincinnati Bengals.
So, relax.
So
relax.
Okay, fine. I could have said a lot of teams, but I would have had to say like quadruple or triple for the bad teams, It's a slightly different argument. It's much harder to do.
Well, I think the whole fearful thing is interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, has Lamar Jackson beat Mahomes? How many times has Lamar Jackson beat Patrick Mahomes?
A couple times. Beat in the regular season when Alex got mooned by Ravens fans. That one stands out.
I saw that one in person.
One time?
Yeah.
So
Because-
that was for sure.
Because he came out and
times,
said,
probably.
because he came out because
I think just once.
I thought it was back-to-back regular seasons.
because he's come out and said he's the boogeyman. He's my kryptonite,
Right.
and
He still beat him. You can be honest. Maybe it's behind closed doors, Drew, but I do think sometimes fear is an appropriate response. Maybe not to say publicly, but when you sit in a room, you should be like, man, that guy's scary as hell. I don't think there's anything wrong with
I
saying
think you're-
that.
you're-
I think
you're-
you've lost the mental battle because you admit somebody is a terrifying player.
Yeah, but to me, I don't think if you really feel that he's your kryptonite, then you've already spoken into existence what essentially is going to happen. You know, because you're already giving yourself that narrative. You're painting that picture where you're going to feel that way once you start the game. Man, this guy actually is really good. I was right. I don't know if we're going to be able to do, and all these things just start popping in your head. Where if you hear the Chiefs, your ears should perk up a little bit. You should know that they're coming. You should prepare more for the Chiefs than anybody else. That doesn't mean that you should be worried that you're going to lose.
Yeah, I hear you. I would say though their play will and how they coach will tell us a lot of this too. I mean, if their teams are back to early in the year not fearful, so therefore they're not as aggressive, they're not going for the fourth downs because they feel like they have to keep up. If that shifts in the other direction, then that'll tell us they're not fearful. That also could be a massive mistake by these football teams if that's how they approach it.
I think if you limited this to just the offense, I don't think people last year feared the Chiefs' offense the way they used to. I do think that when the offense came into town, they're like, okay, like we've got some methods to slow this down. They're not going to go and put 30 on us, and we better put, like you said, go for every fourth down, put 30 on them. There might be part of that where teams are still like, are you going to be that scary of an offense again? We'll see. But again, I hope that they do that because the last 2 years, and we don't have to excuse me, because if it happens a third year in a row and everyone's healthy, well, then there's just a fundamental problem that they're not getting enough out of their quarterback. They're not getting enough out of Andy Reid's offense. They're not getting enough out of Nagy, whoever, not getting enough out of their wide receivers or running backs. There's just a fundamental flaw because the last 2 years are easy. The first years, they had no talent. Their number one wide receiver going into the year was Kadarius Toney. Then last year, it was the wrath of injuries. But I don't really care what happens this year. If you go 3 years in a row of kind of a mediocre offense with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, well, the excuse game is done. And the reasons for why the offense was are done. And you just need to look internally for what is causing the offense to stall out in the way that it did. If you limit it to the offense, teams might actually have a point over the last 2 years. But I'm the same as you. If you sleep on them, if you decide not to do that, well, then I think you might run into an issue where you might make a mistake by sleeping on them. You know, you're not paying enough attention to what happened the last 2 years.
I love all this stuff, though. I do.
Oh, I do too.
I think it's great. I think it's. I
like the
think
hate.
I think it's terrific, and it's one of those that very, very quickly people can look like complete idiots. So I also enjoy that very quickly in the beginning of the season.
I do like how quickly. Yeah, you're right. You prove people wrong so fast. Like the Chiefs, there were people last year. Chiefs won't even win the division. Won't even make the play. Won 15 games with the number one seed. Won the whole AFC again, and then came up short in a game. But it's just like. Things have gotten bad when the biggest dunk you have on someone is, well, you made it way further than us. We even thought about getting. But you lost in that last game, the only last game you could play. Like, oh, man, you got us. Oh, man, what a burn.
It is crazy.
Sick burn. You got me because the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl, their third consecutive appearance in the game, the two previous of which they won.
It's weird how conversations go in sports, especially on like the national debate talking head show stuff. You know, it's got to the point where you're right. The Chiefs could have lost by a field goal in the AFC title game. In a weird way, people would have talked about them in a different way than by making the Super Bowl and getting your ass kicked. It's like losing on a last-second field goal in the AFC title game, that would have been more impressive? What?
Doesn't make any sense. If, for some reason, this is the first time you're turning into the video stream, and you're seeing Alex and I once again dressed in crowns and senior Wittizens buttons and sunglasses. You got the wigs on?
I do.
What
you thought this was my real hair?
Maybe let it grow out a little bit. You've positioned it well where you just kind of look like you're getting ready to hit the slopes before you
skiing. Yeah.
Before you hit the vape pen. Like that's what it looks like right before.
I don't know why my wig
it kind of flares out a little bit more than mine. I don't know. Did you curl it?
No, I didn't do anything. I don't know what's up with it, man.
But if you're like, why are they dressed like that? We'll continue to tell you that we have started a movement to get Bobby Wood Jr. more attention because, for starters, he's not a starter in the All-Star game and it's offensive. We've dubbed them the Wittizens, We are the senior Wittizens, the two people who are trying to get this ball rolling. So on Sunday, we do our event outside of Gate B at Kauffman Stadium, where you can get a free Bobby Witt Jr. haircut. You don't have to get it, but then you also have the option to compete in our Bobby Witt Jr. lookalike contest. I have been teasing mystery prizes to go with it, but Gold, we are happy to announce what one of those prizes will be. Would you like to tell the fine people what the winner of the Bobby Witt Jr. lookalike contest will get to do with this show, with the two of us on Sunday?
The winner will be getting to sit in those Crown Club seats on Sunday as the Royals take on the Mets. So, on TV, I'm told in view of TV as well. So, if you win for you and a guest, if you win the contest, we'll be sitting with us in Crown Club on Sunday. That's one of the prizes.
And I got to say, as somebody who's sat in Crown Club before, the perks of just Crown Club alone are worth it. Let alone the fact that you'll be on TV looking like Bobby Witt Jr. as an official Wittizen, right? All the things that come with, all the perks that come with that. Plus, you get all the food and drink down there. Lovely scenario, I think, for the winner. You can take advantage of that yourself. You're gonna get down there, get some prime rib.
Of course. Imagine eating prime rib wearing a crown and a wig and glasses.
We're gonna get a few looks. Do you think we have to take these off to block the view?
We can't block the view of people behind us. I don't know.
I mean, these aren't that high, right? They can see around us. They stagger those seats a little bit.
You might want to take it off after a while. We'll see.
Not until we're on camera.
Yeah.
Not until they see us at least for a little bit dressed like this so that people are aware of the Wittizens. So if you want to dress up or willing to be in a Bobby Witt Jr. lookalike contest, Sunday's your day. The haircuts start at 10:30. The lookalike contest will start a little after noon. We will be out there handing out the stuff, the swag we showed you yesterday, the stickers that say Wittizen, the buttons that we have on our shirts, eye black that say Wittizen. All that stuff will start at 10:30. But you have a chance to sit with us in Crown Club. We're thinking I think we should bookend them. We should put them in the middle and then you and I on the outside. We talk to each other enough. We don't have to talk to each other during the game.
Yeah, that works for me, man. Going to be a fun one on Sunday out at Kauffman Stadium. All right, coming up next, though, let's keep talking about the Royals a little bit and something that has shifted schedule-wise from a couple weeks ago and one person that may not have to worry about something before the start of the season. That's coming up.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
At Verizon, lock in our best price ever on the best 5G in Kansas City and be the best you. Check where your ride is for your trip into the office. Get that almost impossible dinner reservation and save big with Verizon while you do it all. Switch today and pay $45 a month for a single line. That's right, just $45 a month when you bring in your phone with unlimited welcome with auto pay plus taxes and fees. Stop by your nearest Verizon store today. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Rankings based on Root Metrics Root Score Report dated 2H 2024. Your results may vary. Additional terms apply.
The best moments in life weren't meant to sit in a box, gathering dust in the attic or stuck on outdated tapes. They're meant to be seen, heard, and shared again and again.
Oh, look how little you were.
That's why Legacy Box exists, to help you preserve and relive your family's history. Imagine being able to text a video of your grandparents to your kids, or share a childhood memory with your siblings in seconds.
Wow, I haven't seen this in years.
Legacy Box makes it that easy. Just fill your Legacy Box with all your analog media. Send it to our headquarters in Tennessee, where we digitize everything by hand. And in just a few weeks, we'll send back your originals, digitized, preserved, and stored in the cloud, so you can easily stream, download, and share your memories. Anytime, anywhere. Join the millions of families that have trusted Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value for 50% off. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text BOSS to 321321. That's BOSS to 321321. BOSS to 321321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payout via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Brought to you by Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Visit ClimateControlKC.com. Climate Control has been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle the scorching hot summer. Schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in about 8 minutes, we'll talk some Chiefs football, including an update on one player's situation off-season wise and how it looks clearer and clearer, perhaps, for the start of this regular season. You guys can hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running as well. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube in particular. That way you don't miss any of the shows here on 96.5 The Fan. So a while back, we had talked about the Royals schedule-wise, like, man, the uphill climb, it's a climb in numbers game, but also schedule-wise.
Because they had one of the 5 hardest schedules remaining in all of baseball when we brought it up.
They did, like middle to late June. It was the top 5 toughest schedule. Well, because the American League Central has cooled off. Teams like the Guardians have, I don't know if they still have lost 10 in a row. I don't know if they finally won, but they had lost 10 in a row. So now you take a peek. One positive, I guess, if you're trying to factor in how to approach the next few weeks, too, in trades and everything. The Royals now have the 21st toughest or 9th easiest schedule remaining in baseball. It's because they have 6, yes, against the Tigers, the toughest team in baseball. But now if you go and you look on the easier side of it, they have 6 against the White Sox, 3 against the Nationals.
Who've been bad.
3 against the A's, and I understand the A's swept the Royals.
But they still
I
are
get
bad.
It. Pirates, who
we're watching right now.
They got 1 game left with them. And then they have a couple against the Braves, who have been a massive disappointment this year. And then the Marlins. So the schedule has lightened up a little bit. Before, you would have had a team like the Twins maybe even on the side of being tough based on strength of schedule. And I understand it's baseball, anybody can beat anybody, but we're just talking from a strength of schedule perspective. That has eased up compared to what it was.
A lot of this matters for the teams that you're going to face in there. And yeah, this does matter a lot, Gold, because when they started going through that thick part of their schedule, that's when the losing started. They are still struggling more against really good baseball teams than against bad baseball teams, which is not uncommon for a lot of people. But in the bottom 10 is just pretty much the entire division. The 26th hardest for the Twins, 27th hardest for the Tigers, the easiest schedule remaining in all of baseball at the hands of the Guardians, who aren't winning at all. But think about the teams you're going to have to pass. Those are the ones they're going to have to play a more difficult schedule than you. And that's what matters more than the rest of it. Yeah, sure, Seattle's kind of probably in your range. But the idea that it softened up a little bit is what should, I think, give the Royals a little bit more internal optimism than what we're talking about, right? So if you've got that kind of schedule lined up with that, I'm looking at the difficult part of their schedule. It's not that bad either. The Mets, who are pretty good, are coming into town this weekend. But when you start looking at it, honestly, this is one of the things that kind of reassures me a little bit that maybe they can crawl back into this thing versus where they've been before. Because it was no longer than like 4 days, Gold, after we're like, Royals are facing their toughest 2 weeks of the entire season and have one of the toughest schedules remaining in baseball. And it went bad. It went real bad. And since that moment, their schedule has softened significantly. I'll just be honest. Twins aren't very good. Guardians aren't very good. And I'm sure they're saying the same thing about the Royals right now. But I still think the Royals' core is better than either of those teams. And more importantly, their pitching is better than either of those teams. I know we can talk more about Seth Lugo and Dallas Keuchel coming up here in about 50 or 20 minutes or so. But as you look at those teams, them being bad is great news for the Royals. I hope the Central falls off. It sucked when they were all good.
Yeah, look, all you can ask for at this point is, like, can you beat up on bad teams and keep the bad teams down and losing teams losing and that kind of thing. And as you were saying, like, the Royals have not always done that this year. The A's swept them, and this is a Pirates team that, offensively is right there with the Royals and how bad they are.
They did not score a run over the weekend.
And so this is what you have to do, but you're going to, yes, have to beat some high quality teams along the way. We were doing the math on this the other day. Like, you can't just the rest of the way beat up on the bad teams and be below 500 by a couple games against the world. Like, you will not make up the ground. Like, you're going to have. I'm not saying they got 6 games against the Tigers left. Okay.
3-3.
You'll take 3-3. Yeah. I mean,
you're not trying to catch them in the division. You're trying not to lose more.
But when I see you got 6 against the White Sox, can you go 5-1 or 4-2, Cody, against the White Sox? You got 3 against the Nationals. Got to win that series. Then you've got series against, as you said, the Mets this weekend. You can't get swept by the New York Mets. Stuff like that. You got the Mariners still for 3 more. Can't get swept.
That's the team you're chasing still, actively.
And you already didn't perform well, against them in Seattle. So overall, to the extent that I thought they need to, they even the series. I thought they needed to win 3 or 4. So
yeah, I do think they went 2-2. They didn't they didn't perform poorly. They didn't lose ground to Seattle, but because they were behind Seattle, at some point they're going to actually it's not even that they have to, it's that they can. The importance of the team who is directly ahead of you is on your schedule, so you can just make up, not a half game, not play even, game for game. You beat them in a 3-game sweep, and you were 4 games back. You are now only 1 game back. You have a chance to catch up all the ground that you are missing on a team directly ahead of you, those become more and more and more important. But yeah, I'll be honest. I looked it up because you had brought it up before on the schedule. I'm like, how hard is the schedule remaining? And I was like, not bad. You know what? It was kind of encouraging for me. I'm looking for reasons to be optimistic about the Royals. I'm always looking for reasons to be optimistic because it's easy to look in the negative or, I don't know, get TMZ headlines because you think someone's overweight. I don't need that in my life if I can avoid it, which kind of brings me to the Chiefs a little bit. This isn't even like an optimism or anything outside of this. I'm just doing some math. Based on when the civil trial is set to take place for Rashee Rice and the fact that there is no date for the criminal trial, I am now officially 99.9% convinced that Rashee Rice is not getting suspended this year. Maybe not at all, but show me a world in which all of a sudden now he's getting suspended. Does he enter an agreement with the state over his criminal trial? I haven't even heard that they've technically charged him yet for that stuff. So, like, at this point, why am I supposed to think 2 weeks from the opening of training camp that Rashee Rice has any chance of missing any games this year? This year. I'm going to point out this year, which would be stupid, by the way. How ludicrous would it be that he misses 4 games in the year 2026 for something that happened 3 years ago? Football is stuck in a bad spot because they didn't want to punish people before the legal process took place after they screwed that up a different time. But now they're finding out that really expensive players have really good lawyers and can drag out legal proceedings for an impossibly long amount of time. I don't think Rashee Rice is getting suspended this year.
So I don't think so either. I'm not at 99% like you.
Like
just
70%?
because it's hard
Where you at?
hard to predict the legal system and how that could play out. Yeah, I'm probably in the 70s. Yeah, I probably think there's like a 70% chance that he doesn't get suspended this year. I'll stick with the same timeline as last year. I remember we were going up to training camp and we were discussing this very thing. And I think the NFL usually does this, but also I think if you can't make your decision, the league that is, by August 15th or so, then you cannot suspend somebody from a prior incident for that season. It should have to roll over to the next year. Unless there's a new incident that comes to light or something like that, it's different. But when it's an incident that already occurred in this case, or it'll be, it's well over a year by the time we get to August, and you're waiting for the criminal proceedings to wrap up or begin, I guess, if you can't make that suspension determination by the end of training camp, then you got to push to the next year. And that'll irritate fans across the league, and they'll think it's set up and rigged for the Chiefs and yada, yada, yada.
But they've just decided
But
to
if
wait
there
out the
was a
legal
wide
process.
receiver on the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens that had a same scenario play out and the criminal case hadn't begun or whatever, they also would not be getting suspended yet at this point. And so for the Chiefs' sake, obviously, yeah, no doubt it's a great thing for them that it looks more and more like he's going to be available, because by the time that suspension ever happens, I also now think it's going to be for far fewer games than what we all thought initially. And again, I'm just telling you what we think is going to happen. I know, we get texts whenever we talk about this. They're like, you're saying he shouldn't be held responsible. That's not what we're saying.
I'm just telling you what I think is going to happen.
What we think is going to happen, and the way this is getting dragged out longer and longer. And yeah, unfortunately, the level of attention to it gets less and less every year it goes by, or every month it goes by.
Yeah, and that's just part of the way. And I think the league kind of likes it that way sometimes too. They don't want their players in trouble to go with it. And yeah, I am just predicting what I think will occur at this point. I don't think he's getting suspended this year. And yeah, I've already told you, maybe like 2 months ago, I already told you that I thought I've softened what I think the total punishment will be for Rashee Rice down to 2 to 4 games instead of 4 to 8 or whatever I thought it was probably before. I do think it's somewhere in that lower number. For his sake, this is the part that I can't get over. It's like, you can delay it, right, as long as you won. But for his sake, a guy who eventually will want to get a long-term contract with either the Chiefs or another team, is it better to just get the suspension out of the way, put up massive numbers the rest of the year, the final year of your rookie deal, put up massive numbers again, and then force teams into a decision and just get it out of the way? Because right now his seasons are weird. Good, solid rookie year. Not like he had 1,400 yards, but a nice rookie year out of Rashee Rice. An excellent 4 games before he got hurt. Would it be worse to be suspended the first, let's just call it 4 games this year, and have a kick-ass 13 behind it, or crush it for 17 games this year, miss 4 more the following year, and then put up the numbers? I feel like in a way, if I were him, I'd want the most consecutive time in a row being a great wide receiver to get paid. I feel like I would want the suspension out of the way. Can you request that if you're a player? Hey, if you're going to suspend me, can I just take it now? Because that part of it always confuses me. I feel like I would rather get it out of the way if I were a player now in Rashee Rice's spot. But because of the season-long injury, I wonder if he'd rather just get back on the field first, if given his own choice. Let's just say he knows he's going to get suspended.
He's on a
the first 4 this year or next year.
You're on a rookie contract. You're not asking for a suspension. You're on a rookie contract. You're not. I'm
just saying, if you know for a fact you're getting 4 games, would you rather this year or next year? I mean, you got to pay lawyers, so maybe next year. But
yeah, I think you always push it back as long as possible. I don't think you get it out of the way if you're on your rookie contract still. You also think if you're him, you think there's a chance you still don't get suspended at all.
Somebody says, isn't Justin Tucker already suspended? Yes, but those are. It's just a different scenario. What we're talking about is a traffic violation versus they treat him different, I guess, is what I would say.
This is where it gets complicated, though, for the NFL because you're trying to weigh you get into the morality kind of thing within it, right? It's like, you weigh like what's more serious of an offense, and it gets really dirty and ugly when you start weighing like one incident that obviously still altered some people's lives in a car accident versus also domestic violence or sexual assault allegations. And you're weighing like what is worse, and you play this moral game, and it gets really ugly and nasty, and kind of gross if you play that. But yes, the NFL did suspend Justin Tucker. That is true.
And they already had the direct comp. It was just like, he did the same thing as Deshaun Watson. You get the Deshaun Watson suspension.
How many
the
games
second
was
they
it?
agreed to that.
10? Is that what he got suspended? Tucker.
Yeah, 10 games. And he's a free agent. He can serve the suspension while he's a free agent. But he's also a kicker. If you're a team, why would you even take a chance on him anymore? Like, you'd probably just be done.
I would think so. Well, teams are desperate.
I think
for kickers, though.
I think he'll get signed by somebody.
Michael Vick out of jail.
He's a kicker, and he wasn't even kicking that well last year.
I think somebody will sign him.
I've seen teams take
So the sad reality of it, I know the reality says we say is like, hey, if you can play, you're going to get an opportunity. But also, we're talking about a kicker, and you may think it's gross, but there is a difference for some teams to stomach somebody getting in a car accident that may have injured people, and what Justin Tucker is accused of doing, and what the PR looks like for that versus a car accident. The details are worse for one, and from a PR perspective.
And the car part of it always changes the if you're the league, this is why it's so tough. If you're the league, right, other players, so they've had other players get busted going. For instance, didn't Stephon Diggs just get busted going like 100 miles an hour? Was it him?
I don't know.
There was a recent NFL player who got
Sanders.
Oh, Sanders. That's what it was. I'm sorry. I didn't mean Diggs got in trouble for mystery substances on a boat. He got publicly criticized.
He hadn't been in trouble for that at all. Someone just saw a video.
I didn't mean trouble. I just meant public trouble, not like.
Yeah, by the way, text line, that is incorrect. Someone says Tucker's suspension doesn't start till he gets signed by another team. That is false. It is actually starting week 1, whether he's signed by anybody or not. But anyway.
But so so let's say you're shooter and you go 110 miles an hour, but you don't get in an accident. But you're Rashee Rice and you're driving also really fast, but you get in an accident. Do you suspend a player for just doing the reckless behavior, or when the reckless behavior becomes hurtful to other people? It's not the league. It seems simpler on surface, but I imagine if you're sitting in those meetings trying to decide on suspensions and all this stuff and precedent, because you're setting a precedent for anybody after this, before this, anything that occurs after this, you're kind of pretty much saying, because that was the whole Deshaun thing. People thought he should have gotten more. He wanted a lot less. They settled on 10 games. The next time something similar came up to that, they gave that next player, Justin Tucker, a similar length suspension as the one Deshaun Watson gets. So whatever they give Rashee Rice has got to be the number they think is fair for anybody who gets in a traffic-related accident in which it was their fault. And if he was going 80 in a 60 instead of 120, is it the same suspension? It's a really difficult place for the NFL to be in. All of them are bad, and you shouldn't do it. No one's arguing that. I don't think he's getting suspended this year. That's all.
That must mean you don't think he should be in trouble at all, Cody.
I'm sure that's what somebody who will take this.
Oh, we already got that text.
Because like you said, it's the moral and Wayne, the moral stuff where somebody texted and he was almost Henry Ruggs, where the line in the line is very thin in terms of if thank God nobody got hurt. If somebody gets hurt or worse, Rashee Rice, he's not even worried about getting suspended. He's never playing again. Like I think that's
the message that his people around him and the chief should be saying is how fortunate you are that you didn't kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously but we know why the consequence is different. Like that's just how, because that fortunately did not happen.
Correct.
He's of course not going to be held to the same standard. But that's the message that hopefully has got across to him.
Yeah.
That, hey, this could have been, you could have killed yourself. You could have killed somebody else. You hope
you learn a very valuable, important lesson.
Right.
Sure.
For sure.
Of course. No reason to not think that would be the case. Somebody's now asking if the Browns need a kicker. That's and you give them a fully guaranteed contract.
Oh, boy.
Is that what you do? In that scenario as well. Really get
coming
yourself
up
in trouble.
in about 15 minutes, we'll talk more about the Royals, what Vern had to say yesterday in regards to Seth Lugo possibly being traded. But I don't know if you guys saw on social media today, the Washington Commanders put out some new alternate, really they're retro, not alternate, but retro uniforms.
Yeah.
Going back to what they're calling their Super Bowl era uniforms. They're the classic, at the time, Washington Redskins uniforms that we all saw growing up watching them play. And you think it's really, really interesting. Well, I just think the uniforms are kind of cool looking. They're, by the way, not doing the Redskin logo. They're just doing everything but that. But
everything but that. But here's
probably a
I
smart
want to know
decision.
if I'm alone because I'm worried that sometimes you have an opinion and then you're like, better take this one. We're lucky enough to have a platform we can take it to the masses. I want to know if I'm alone in thinking this. 913-586-7965 or YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We'll take all of your responses over there. I think that this is a deliberate attempt from Josh Harris to soft launch bringing back the old Washington name. I think he knows his fans want it. I think he's interested in bringing it back. And because the climate, I think nationally has changed some in the time since that has occurred, I think he's soft launching bringing back the name, and he wants to know if people could stomach it. So he's going to do everything but that first. Here's all the uniforms. They're doing it for 3 games. Here we'll celebrate all the old guard. And just hypothetically, how would you feel, if we brought the old name back? Anybody? Problems? I think it's a soft launch. I think he wants to bring the old name back, and he thinks maybe he can get away with it, and this is his way of testing the waters from a marketing end.
Well, I agree on one thing, which is in 2025, it is much more likely that he brings the name back than it was a couple years ago. That's just the reality, as you said, with the climate that the United States exists in currently and maybe moving forward, right? I think there's just a different acceptance of certain things. That's a whole different conversation. But in terms of the look of the uniform, the uniforms look awesome. Yes, their fans want the old logo and everything back. The fact that they're winning football games also helps with this. That owner right now, and Josh Harris, that ownership group, they're because of how bad Dan Snyder was, they're the most beloved ownership group in the NFL right now. I mean, their fans, everything this guy does right now has been great.
Coming off of the owner they had, I can't
their
blame
owner
them.
before sucked. They have a franchise quarterback now. I think this today, Cody, is more about the stadium. So they are trying to move back
I saw
to the
Southern
old.
said for the old DC. That felt like, would you like to be
That's
the old
part
name
of their,
again?
They have a fight song or whatever. That's part of their fight song. But then also, they are trying to move back to the old RFK Stadium site. And they want to go back to D.C. And this, I think, is part of that movement as well. They also, much like we've been talking here about the stadium and the financial stuff, they're trying to get the funding mechanisms in place and the right people aligned to make that happen. They want to go back to D.C. They're also only wearing these uniforms, which I think is a mistake, only for 3 games. They should just wear these for every single road game or home game or whatever. They're that good.
It can't be that hard to just go back to that style of uniform, but change the name from Commanders to something that is different, but also represents. Because I think Commanders is fine. I think there's better
But they
options
don't want to
out
go through
there.
a whole nother rebrand. So we're going back
just
to
leave it at Commanders at this point if that's the case.
This is why I think it's a soft launch. If you're trying to go back and be like, hey, look, we're doing the throwbacks, but we're not totally sure people will let us do the all the way throwbacks yet. So here's most of it. How are we stomaching this? What's the public reaction? I think that
jersey
their
concept is
teams
great.
are on social media monitoring the because I don't think I'm the only person to be like, I can see what you're up to here. Because obviously they just did the Washington Commanders logo on the helmet and try to make it kind of the older style. Yeah, the older style colored uniforms and all that stuff, yeah, I think they look good in the color scheme or stripe department. But I don't think they should go back to the old name. I think that one should stay dead and buried. You decided to move on from it. Move on from it. I don't think it was the wrong choice at the time. I think it was the right choice. Just stay away from it. But I feel like it's a little bit of a can we? If we tried, would you guys care? And yeah, some of it goes back to what I said, where I just think the national sentiment on it won't be as harsh as it was even then.
For sure.
Have we ever seen that other than, I guess, the Charlotte Bobcats go back to the Charlotte Hornets? Have we ever seen that in sports where they left a team name behind and then went back to it again?
Hornets, you mentioned them, right?
Well, yeah, other than the Hornets, is there any? There's no other example of that actually happening.
I mean, most people don't change their team name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had teams that like move.
I mean, I've watched the Nashville team throw on an Oilers jersey once, but like, I don't think they're going to just start calling themselves that. Now they're also in a different city, but like I don't think the Texans will ever just be like, we're not the Texans anymore, we're the Oilers now.
They should be, by the way.
Oh yeah, way cooler name, but I don't think they do it. That's the thing.
They should be the Houston Oilers.
But unlike the scenarios that we're mentioning, although I guess that one's the case. Like you said, the citywide sentiment, and you've talked to like your co-host who you do the betting show with on Saturday, works in D.C. The fans, they would have no pushback in the city. By all accounts, everybody in D.C. would be like, "We're back."
Yeah, I've told you that whenever I go on that station in D.C. and this year, by the way, the Commanders play here, so I think we're going to do some stuff with that station and maybe have some of their guys on our show and vice versa. That game heading at Monday Night Football game at Arrowhead. What really drives them crazy is that, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they don't get why we in Kansas City get to still do like the tomahawk chop.
Although technically the Chiefs don't endorse that
I understand,
anymore.
but everybody does it at the game. And all this kind of stuff, and they don't. Like, they're basically just jealous. It's like they're jealous. Like, why did we get reprimanded and you guys didn't? Now, I would also say the name Chiefs is not anywhere near the name Redskins,
and it wasn't
whatsoever.
Chief Wahoo or the like using a person
it's to me completely different.
logo.
I really think it's completely different. I truly do.
Too.
But that's the sentiment in DC, and I promise you,
maybe not in the chat,
that the week of that game, heading into that Monday night game, somebody will have an article somewhere on a national publication about this very thing and why they're doing this and they're not, yada, yada. Like, just be ready. That is happening. And was it in October, end of October, when the Commanders come to Kansas City?
Yeah. Somebody says maybe is one of the games they're doing it against the Chiefs?
No, it's not. I already looked.
Little too on the nose there. You can't be that upfront with it.
No, it's like 3 primetime games, but not the Chiefs primetime game.
I think they're all later in the year. It feels like they're like November or later or something, if I remember the calendar right. Maybe not. Oh, maybe they're wearing on their opener too. I can't remember now, but you can see the dates. Adam Schefter had sent out the thing. I feel like it's a soft launch. I think that they're just trying to get a feel, and I don't think they do it this year. I think they're just trying to get a feel of the vibe.
Yeah, I think
if we tried to soften our way back into this thing, how would everyone feel?
I think a lot's connected to the stadium thing too. I think don't discount that just because they want to go back to DC and their roots from a stadium perspective as well. So if they were ever to
playing
change
the string on the old jerseys helps. Yeah.
And look, maybe they do both at the same time. Maybe like whenever that day is that they eventually get their stadium figured out, maybe that's when they decide to try to make a switch back or something. I don't know. But something to follow. I do think they look cool, the ones they released today, though, that they're going to wear this upcoming season. All right, up next, let's get right back into the Royals. Something Vern had to say yesterday about Seth Lugo and what the Royals will be doing when it comes to that. And then the Big 12 Media Days, believe it or not, that's actually going on down in Texas right now. And Brett Yormark is doubling down on something that the Big 10 and the SEC don't like, but the Big 12 does.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I'm going to spend some time outside tonight. You know why? I'm going to do a little grilling, sit out on my deck, and that's what you could be doing right now by building your dream deck at All Weather Decks, the right deck at the right price. One of Kansas City's most respected deck builders and a 24-time winner of Angie's List Super Service Award. Why not let them build your dream deck? Schedule your free estimate at allweatherdecks.net. Give them a call, 913-206-1974. But look for yourself as well. You can see their reviews up on their website, the type of services that they offer, including wood decks, composite decks, fire pits, stone masonry, any outdoor projects you need, they can handle over at All Weather Decks. Give them a call, 913-206-1974, or online at allweatherdecks.net.
The Nissan 4th of July sale is on at Reiselman Nissan, and 0% financing is back. That's right, 0% APR for 5 full years on Rogues, Muranos, and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months, even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Traded your last car at 7% interest? Trade up and lower your payments today. Plus, get up to $6,000 in total rebates on the rugged Frontier. Nobody in Kansas City beats our deals or selection. Visit Reiselman.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
Men,
The summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600, or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth. Why not start today?
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing your schedule, responding to Jim's long emails, leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $699.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text BOSS to 321321. That's BOSS to 321321. BOSS to 321321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Royals baseball. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on a Wednesday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Trash of the day is coming up in 20 minutes.
Is it going to be that golf course fight?
It's not going to be the golf course fight. That made the rounds yesterday. This is like...
That's some bad luck, man. Drunk getting in a fight and then choosing to fight a hockey enforcer. I got to admit, you're an idiot, but also that's bad luck.
Yeah,
you could have chosen to fight any person as a drunk guy, but you chose a former NHL enforcer. That feels like unfortunate.
Golfers, man. You guys,
golfers,
golfers.
Golfers, Drew.
You guys in like your time crunch and taking too long, and then somebody moved their ball in a different spot that you didn't like. They dragged their feet on the green. You know, just all this stuff that causes fights.
Rules. You don't like it, huh?
My goodness!
It's not golfers. No, these people are not golfers. They're hoodlums. You want to fight somebody over this? You're an idiot. All you guys are idiots.
That man got thrown in a water hazard.
All you guys are idiots.
Yes, he did.
Treat the golf course properly is fine.
Yeah, but that's his point. No. His point is that you're saying treat the golf course properly. Like, I got to bend down to it and trim and like.
But it's not your job to be the enforcer, so you got your ass kicked. That's what happened. It's not your job to be that. You can call the pressure and be like, hey, man, somebody's really tearing up the greens right now. They're dragging their foot along the green, and it's a problem. Just wanted to let you guys know. Go about your business. You don't have to enforce things just because you think you can be the macho man and all this other stuff. Instead, you got your butt kicked.
You ever been like, this is HOA energy. They love being the enforcer. This has nothing to do with golf, in my opinion. This is the problem where people love telling other people what to do.
Correct.
That's what I think that this is about.
The video is funny, but I'm just like, it's like, man, this stuff is happening more
a lot more often. Yeah, that's a problem.
Course. Yeah. So we will get to the trash of the day coming up in 15 minutes.
No, I was going to say, I was worried it was going to come up in a snitch line so a couple weeks ago when I did the Elks golf tournament thing with, I had told you, like, I went with a group of friends. I won a free driver.
Yes.
Which was nice, right?
I still can't believe that. That's crazy.
So I won a free driver.
Drew's jealous, very jealous.
I haven't even played with it yet. Don't even know if it works. But so I won a free driver. And by the way, I wouldn't have won it if it wasn't for this guy at the club named Lee who told me my ticket had won. I wasn't paying any attention. And when I won it, I demanded a speech. You
were drunk, clearly, because I saw some photos from that event that were sent to me by somebody else you were with.
And you think that I was drunk?
Just a little bit. You didn't know you won the award, makes sense. And then you demanded a speech. So
what about that makes it sound like I had been drinking?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You know?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Drew, have you seen the drive? What do you think of Cody's shaft?
I think I saw a picture. All I saw was a distant picture. It looks nice. It's new, which is
brand new. It
also
had the plastic
nice
on it.
Mm-hmm. So you liked it?
Do you know if it was a custom one or if it was a regular or
I think
stiff?
just a regular one.
You would need a custom shaft.
No. Well,
that one wouldn't be a custom because it was given to you. Like if you went and got fitted, you might get a custom shaft if you got fitted for a driver.
I don't think I'm good enough at golf for that. I can't believe that guy got thrown into the lake. That was the funniest part. And then got out of the lake to try to fight again, Gold.
And got thrown down. Like, dude, you've lost the battle, man. Like, it's first, the fighting on the golf course is just too much.
Yeah, I didn't get any fights. I'm a happy.
That's embarrassing.
I'm a happy drinker.
That's good. All right,
let's talk Royals baseball.
Let's talk a little Royals. Vern's going to join us at 12:30, but he had something to say the other day here on the station as well about Seth Lugo, and it's even more interesting now because we saw today the Royals have signed Dallas Keuchel. Yes, that Dallas Keuchel to a minor league contract. He's now 37 years old. he will be in AAA for now, maybe has an opportunity to make it to the big leagues. Listen to what Vern had to say about Seth Lugo, and he says they should trade Seth Lugo no matter how the next couple weeks go.
If I'm JJ, if I'm John Sherman, I'm praying Seth Lugo stays healthy tonight, and I'm hoping that price goes up and hoping that more teams stay in it, right? You want the Diamondbacks to stay in it so they don't make Zach Gallen available. You want the other right-handed trade options to stay on quality teams, because to me in a market like this, even if the Royals get red hot and win every single game going into the All-Star break, you still need to trade Seth Lugo. If you're above 500, I still think you need to trade Seth Lugo, because if you're above 500, that means maybe this offense is starting to turn it around, because it's not just we're living and dying with our starting pitching. Again, it goes back to my edict to the front office. Prove to me that it's not a white flag and you can move Seth Lugo today. But until you can do that, let's take this thing to the deadline.
So that was Vern talking about how he thinks the Royals should handle, Seth Lugo. I think, the thing that's interesting now, I'm not saying, I was joking a little bit on and being sarcastic on Twitter earlier this morning, but at some point you do have to still field a rotation. So, let's say they trade Seth Lugo.
Now Dallas Keuchel's
and
in
they
it?
trade Michael Lorenzen. Both are realistic possibilities. Lorenzen, and now we know Ragans is at least out till the middle of August, okay?
Yes.
So I know that, let's say they wait all the way up to the deadline. So the calendar flips to August 1st. And let's just say Seth Lugo and Lorenzen are gone. Okay, your rotation at that point leaves you with Bubic, Michael Wacha, and Noah Cameron. That's 3. Last time I checked, you can't just have a 3-man rotation in baseball.
Bad idea.
And Daniel Lynch is also on the IL currently, for those asking about him. So Rich Hill or Dallas Keuchel, one of them is going to pitch at some point this year for the Royals if they trade Lugo and Lorenzen.
I'm kind of torn on the Lugo stuff, because this doesn't feel like a playoff team this year just based on the recent losing streak, although they're winning again now, so maybe they're trying to re-enter that conversation. And so some of that maybe changed a little bit. But the reason why I think I'm for it is this is what small market teams who are successful and transactional do. You trade one thing for a different thing, and you just make yourself different better in a different way, or the same in a different way, in an effort to see if the pieces can come together still and make it work. And if that's the case, and I don't know, look, the AAA options outside of Keuchel or Rich Hill do not exist. The best AAA option at any point this year would have been Avila, and he's been on the injured list since the beginning of May, so he's never going to be available to you this year, unless you're going to pitch guys with mid-5 ERAs like Champlain, or dipping into the AA waters and Kudrna, or some of these other names that you've heard probably at this point. There aren't a choice. I'm agreeing with you that Keuchel's probably going to start. The reason why I move Lugo is I would move Lugo for somebody with more control. I give someone the better player now, and I am about still winning this year, right? I am getting back a major league player. I'm getting back a player who helps me now. I am just getting back a player who possesses more control than the one I have now, because I constantly need to be in movement. That was the biggest mistake I thought of the Dayton Moore era, is their unwillingness to be in movement, to be constantly making progress. You have to be doing stuff all the time as a small market team. You got to be that fantasy football owner who's way too damn involved in every part of it. You have to be invested in every second. And I just think when you're a small market team, you move Lugo for a different major league team. You're just moving. You're just doing stuff. So, you sign Keuchel, so Keuchel can make 2 starts for you in August.
Yeah, look, I'm not against trading Lugo as the month progresses or whatever, especially if you can find an outfield bat that helps you beyond 25 and beyond 26 too. I need that guy to be here in 2027 as well, because we all know Seth Lugo has an opt-out. Yeah, he theoretically could still sign with you in the offseason, but by the way, he can still do that whether you trade him or not. If you're
he opts out, he can come right back.
The dollar amount to me will be too great for him to come back, because I think he's going to get a very nice payday in the offseason because he continues to pitch great. Good for him. But it doesn't prevent that from still happening. So you get a piece back, or pieces back, that help you for multiple years when you move on from a guy that maybe is done in 2 months. That's why it's an intriguing option. Now that, I understand the team this week is playing better, but still, if this team was 5 or 10 above 500, I would be saying, no. You got to hold on to him. It sucks that you got to hold on to him, but that's not where they're going to be, Cody.
You're kind of in a middle point. You might have to rob Peter to pay Paul, and your starting pitching might be worse, but in an effort to make your offense better, and you're going to hope that leads to the same number of wins, but with more control. I don't mind
Dallas Keuchel, though,
doing
man.
a little bit. Yeah, I hadn't heard that name in a while. I mean, he's a former Cy Young Award winner.
Yes, he is.
I'm
Yes, he
surprised that
is.
none of these names, considering he's only a couple of shy of 3,000 strikeouts, if they're going to bring in every 40-year-old pitcher off the planet, you didn't make a call to Greinke, or is he just not pitching still?
He might not be. Keuchel had a workout last week, I guess.
Or does he not want to go do minor league stuff?
Well, that also could be part of it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what the scenario is there. How many away is he from 3,000?
Like, so few strikeouts. Like,
really?
Yeah.
He's going to join Kershaw. He'll be like one of the last guys that ever does it.
Keuchel? No, I'm talking about Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke. Yeah. Zach Greinke.
I don't know if he'll ever actually get there, man.
How many away? Is he like 30?
Let me pull it up.
Or was it more?
Because
no, Keuchel's not.
Was it Keuchel?
No.
He is only 21 strikeouts away from 3,000.
Greinke is.
Yeah. That's it. 21 strikeouts away from 3,000. Now, look, based on the number of strikeouts he was getting the last time he was making starts, it's probably 10, 12 starts. But it's not, he's not
Someone
far.
said, I thought you guys were joking when you said we signed Keuchel.
No, they actually signed, if you missed it earlier, the Royals signed Dallas Keuchel to a minor league contract.
And if he were to make it to the big leagues, it's prorated at $2 million, according to Jeff Passan over at ESPN. But I think if Lugo gets moved, and especially if Lorenzen also gets moved, I think Keuchel or Rich Hill, and right now I guess you would think Keuchel just because Rich Hill hasn't pitched all that well in AAA. I think there's a real chance one of those guys is pitching for the Royals in 2025.
I think one at least makes a start.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a 26th man and a doubleheader situation. Well, I'm trying to look. When do you think the last time Dallas Keuchel was good? Okay, so.
19?
He pitched last year. He's pitched every year. The last year Dallas Keuchel was good? 2020. 2020, he was the last time he was good. And only for a portion of the season. No, he was good for 20. He only pitched in 11 games due to injury. After that, he's been flat out. He had a 5.28 ERA and 32 starts.
2020, everybody had a shortened season.
Yeah. So in 2020, he was really good. In 2021, he had an over 5 ERA but made 30 starts. Since then, he has been awful. And I don't mean he has been awful. Like one of the worst players on the planet bad. So, I don't know. Maybe
he was on the street for a reason. I mean, let's just be real.
What do you mean? You don't think players available to you on July 9th in free agency are often good
at the very
baseball
least,
players?
At the very least, what they've done is they got some bodies to help their AAA rotation they need to fill out because you still got to put together a rotation in AAA, and they're starting to run into some really thin options there due to injuries. So
they didn't want to promote guys. They didn't want to promote the guys I just mentioned in AA just to promote them.
I truly think it does have something to set up for if they end up trading a pitcher or two.
I agree.
That they want to have some options, and even in the short term, like even if it's a spot start, they just need to have some guys ready to go if they end up moving two pieces out of the rotation.
Yesterday, it was Big 12 Media Football Days down there in Arlington, Dallas?
Frisco.
Different Texas. Frisco, Texas, where Brett Yormark made multiple remarks. There's a couple things that stand out, but I think the biggest one is fairly obvious. They're all in on 5+11. He's going to go to his grave saying that is the best model. And that is fascinating for the obvious reasons that are, it does appear that the Big 12 is guaranteed less spots this way versus the SEC, which I think is getting 4 in every year, every time. If it's 16 team, pretty much 3 at worst, they might be giving themselves less by going the 5+11 model. I'm surprised the Big 12's so gung-ho in this. He pretty much just says, we'll compete. We'll play it out, and we'll try to get a second team in. That's essentially what he's saying. I still like that model. So, I don't have a problem with it. It's the Big Ten and the SEC who I don't think should just get half of the field every year. So, I'm kind of glad that Brett Yormark
Well, they're
is fighting
for it because, they're going against the grain. They're not just siding with the Big Ten on this.
The Big Ten doesn't like it, but the SEC does, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And, if you're the Big 12, you do not want, you don't want 4 or 5 auto bids handed out to the Big Ten. You just don't. It puts your conference in a really, really bad spot. And I think eventually we get to 16 teams. I do think that's the correct number. If they're going to have 12 and we're just go to 16 and let's just cut it off there. We were talking before the show, would they ever go to a FCS model? And you said
24 teams.
24?
Yep.
That's a lot of teams.
That's probably too many.
That's too many.
The gap is not as much as it is in FBS play, though, so it makes for better consistent. There's better games on a more consistent basis.
Look, if
that makes sense.
Does it get more fan bases involved and stuff? Sure. I think 16 is kind of a perfect spot to be in eventually for the college football playoff. And
Coach Kleiman said as much yesterday as well in his press time.
K-State, by the way, K-State might be one of those teams this year. I mean, if there's any of the local schools that has a shot to make the college football playoff this year, it's K-State.
It's interesting, too, because he coupled in, and I think it goes hand in hand, the comments that he made about them not having a Big 12 media poll, the preseason poll. They're still going to have it for the national. That always is going to be there. But the Big 12 didn't have their media vote on a top 20 or on a top 16, as it were.
You guys.
Arizona hates the polls.
I love this. I understand.
Anti-poll.
Fans love the in-season polls. We've had our back and forth on this show plenty. I think the polls in basketball and in football, they're pointless. I understand fan bases. It's how they kind of market it to themselves. But I think it's pointless. In seasons, even worse. All of it. So
this is only the conference. They're still going to have a preseason poll that comes out on August 16th. That's got K-State 19th.
Yeah, from the media. From the media, right?
From the AP, yes.
From the AP, yeah, but not
not for just the Big 12.
We've gone to Big 12 media days before, and they will literally have you vote on your Big 12 media poll or the coach. They're not doing any of that, is what they're getting rid of. And that I'm glad they don't need it.
And I think it helps. So the preseason poll itself, I think, is somewhat based. They base a lot of it off of the previous thinking, but also the media polls for the conferences. And Brett Yormark's comment was it hurt Arizona State last year in terms of the conversation of where they were seated.
Or did it help them because of the narrative?
No. I totally think that I think they could have been higher seeded, and dare I say, it might have actually helped the conference more if they didn't have the poll, because, and that was his point of why they got rid of it, was with the expanded to 16, which theoretically is going to happen, if Iowa State or if Arizona State's expected to be 2, all of a sudden, they're not just sneaking. Like at the end of the season last year, Arizona State, I believe, was the 16th ranked team in the country. They wouldn't even be in if you just ranked the top 12. The Big 12 would have missed out totally on a team even being in if you just ranked them straight up. Where if Arizona State was picked second and people knew that they were picked second and, hey, they're promoted as this team that's going to be this and that, and then they went on to have the season that they did, they're probably not 16. They're probably more like 10 or 9, which theoretically helps Arizona State host a game, as opposed to having to do a neutral site against Texas, and it's a better team, and you have a chance at winning a playoff game.
That was definitely the perception that they had. That was clearly the line down in Big 12 media days. Yes. Chris Kleiman acknowledged it
Coaches
too. He said it hurt Arizona State and BYU. That was clearly the message. They got the memo.
Totally.
They got the bullet points of the talking points of what the conference wants the coaches to be saying about why they're not having a poll again. I'm not saying there's not maybe some truth to that. I think that is kind of an excuse-making thing a little bit, though. I don't know if that's why Arizona State was disrespected. I kind of lean with Cody a little bit. We were talking pre-show that, the narrative at the end in the why people were talking about Arizona State, wow, this was a team that nobody thought would be here kind of thing, was a fun narrative. You're saying that it's why the final college football selection committee, and everything didn't view them as favorably. I also just think the college football playoff committee would have not favored the Big 12 in general, because it's just a conference that nationally people still don't respect.
Yeah, I think that's more about that than anything else. I think the narrative stuff helps sometimes in college football, because then you're the plucky underdog who's overcome all the odds, and people like it from that perspective. But yeah, I don't need a preseason media poll. I've voted in that. And just think about it. I don't even know where some of the biggest stars in the sport play, Drew. You taking a media poll serious that I voted in for college football? What does that say about just the strength of the poll? That I have multiple times voted for where I thought the teams were going to land.
I think, again, and that's where, you're taking a bunch of people's opinion and you're just kind of combining it all together. And this is no offense to our guy Bink. Bink has an AP top 25 vote. Bink should have an AP top 25 vote as much as he pays attention to college football. But to what your point is, there's too many cooks in the kitchen of how many people have a vote that really don't actually pay attention to everybody in the country, and they just want to vote for their conference.
There's always going to be that.
All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Look like Rob's in his way, unfortunately. Move around.
Dang it, Rob!
Trash of the day.
Rob's fault.
Gonna have to move around.
It's all Rob's fault. My goodness,
Yeah, we're working on something.
All right, trash of the day. Cody, this one's for you, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one's for you in particular, because we've talked
demanding speeches?
we've talked about your lack of success in the hot dog derby. You're 0 for, right? We've discussed this.
Yeah, I am 0 for 4 in the hot dog derby. That's correct.
I retired after winning. You said you'll run it as many times as it takes. It could be 40 times.
I've not been invited back.
I have a new race for you that maybe you can win.
Okay.
A new one.
Oh.
Did you know in the state of Washington They just had a 300-person race where they all were donned in inflatable dinosaur costumes. You know, those T-Rex inflatables the kids love seeing, people in or whatever. The annual T-Rex World Championship. Yeah, it's a yearly event at this racetrack. It was initially started as a team-building exercise by some company out there. Then it gained public notoriety, became a public event last year, and this is a real race. I'm watching video of it. It looks hilarious. The full event is going to be aired on ESPN2 sometime later this summer.
Whoa!
300 people. This is your chance. Could you do it in this T-Rex costume?
I got to say, I've never been in one of those.
Okay.
Can anyone who has been in one of those reference the difficulty of it for me? Because
feels like it'd be cooler than the hot dog. Like you would not be sweating as much in that thing.
Part of the hot dog issue is, and we've talked about this, you have an advantage based on certain height because of a mobility restraint. Mm-hmm. And look, that's not the reason I've lost all the races. I've had other chances to win some. But I'm just trying to figure out, in what way does the dinosaur restrict your ability to move in it before I give it? The answer is I'd probably lose. Let's face it. I'm 0 for 4 in hot dog races, and I'd like to continue to race in them. But it's clear that I'm not going to win a lot of races of this. And with every day I get older, the odds of me winning anything in this regard is just getting worse. Do they have a category? I'd like a senior category. Can I get can I wait 10 years and get in the above 50? Like how when you go to those charity 5Ks and you can be the number one person in your bracket. Mm-hmm. I might be able to win it if you do the number one person in the, 35 plus bracket, but before 50 or something, Give me a chance in that category.
300 people in the T-Rex costumes only.
It does look fun.
The fact that they are airing a recorded version of this on ESPN2 later this summer.
Is it going to be on the Ocho day
thing?
When they joke around?
It has to be, right? This is right up that alley.
That's what I kind of think. That got so much wind, at least at the time, that maybe they're just tripling down on that. If you got invited, would you race? Knowing it would be on ESPN2.
Oh, sure. Why not? Yeah.
Take a chance?
You want something different. I've never been in one of these inflatable T-Rex things.
I haven't either. Has anyone? Drew, have you been in one of those?
Someone on the text line says it's really difficult to move around it.
Really?
Have you watched the video of the race?
They don't look like they're running in full stride, I'll say.
Oh, no chance. No
chance. And every time I see a kid moving it, it kind of looks clumsy, but also I'm just looking at a giant inflatable dinosaur, so maybe that just kind of the wind catches it a little. They always kind of look like the wacky inflatable tube man guys every time they're moving in those things. But I've never actually been in one of those outfits before, so I'm not sure. You ever one of those giant hamster balls?
I know what you're talking. No, I have not. I've not done that either.
Or the inflatable thing where essentially sumo wrestle. I haven't done any of that. You're really missing out, Can we have Cody Gold field day?
Someone says you can't win a 3-person race. Why do we think he'd be in the top 280 of the 300?
I said based on category.
Dang.
Depending on the categories, yes.
Maybe I just have my best race, Have my best day like Drew at the Masters. Mm-hmm. Maybe it could just
That's what you should
my
say
best
from now
day.
on. Yep, that's right.
Someone said Cody versus Bink and Bob in the hot dog race. I mean, do you think you'd...
Okay.
I mean, I finished ahead of Bob the last time we were in a hot dog race together, so I feel pretty good about that. And I mean, yes,
at that point,
that one, but that's rigging it.
At that point, we need, obviously there'd be some head starts involved. You would have to start at the normal spot, Cody. You would not get the head start. Unfortunately, you would not get the head start.
I've not been invited again, so I don't know. I guess you know what? Maybe it's about time for me to start placing those courtesy phone calls to see if I can't get myself involved.
How pathetic that is right there.
You think that's pathetic?
But you just
you think I can't stoop lower? I can stoop lower.
But you just said I have to make some
courtesy calls. No, the funniest thing is, you are a member of the meeting. You're not asking to get a one-on-one with Bobby. You're not asking to get a one. You're asking to be in the hot dog derby race.
Not trying to do something super cool. I'm just trying to get in a hot dog derby race.
By the way, real quick, that's the trash today, by the way. Thinking of just going out to Kauffman Stadium and doing some fun things. Sunday, we, of course, have our Wittizens launch event, Bobby Wood Jr. look-alike contest. And that begins at 10:30, the haircuts. If you're someone that's got the hair that can get cut, if you are like, hey, I'm bald, but I want to do this thing, we got mullet wigs for you.
100 wigs ordered.
You can still participate. And we got this cleared officially. The winner of the look-alike contest on Sunday at the K is going to sit with you and I in the Crown Club.
In view of television was the way it was put to us.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
So you can look like Bobby, Alex and I, and our Bobby wigs, our sunglasses, our crowns will all be ready to help. It's the best way to launch the Wittizens. sitting in view of a television camera for the better part of, I guess, now like 2 hours and 20 minutes for a baseball game.
You guys are going to have to put on a show. Like, as soon as there's like a strikeout.
When Bobby gets up to bat.
Well, that, and as soon as I need you the whole game. As soon as there's like a strike, as soon as the Royals strike
like
somebody out,
people?
you
Should we
guys
work on
stand
like
up.
a thing together for
100%
strikeouts?
that, but definitely with
100%.
Bobby's in the batter's box. Standing ovation right away.
You and so it'll be 3 of you guys.
Winner and a guest.
Oh, so you guys paint.
4 of us.
You guys go shirtless. Paint a W on one chest. Go I on another chest, and two, and then a T and a T.
2 T's.
And you
rip our shirts open, and it just spells
I think
Witt.
we might have some Wittizens jerseys, or at least our Bobby Witt jerseys. We'll see. But that's happening on Sunday. Awesome prize, plus some other stuff planned. Up next, let's get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour, talk more about the left tackle situation. And someone's already a little concerned about how the resources were used at left tackle. Really? That's next.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip what in the bud?
On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
Go Yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. Best place to make, one of the leading places to make all your sports selections. You can play in your state from the Missouri side right now as we speak. You can join the millions of fans who have already won billions making plays on Underdog and be next to join the group of us over on that site. Their app has over 100,000 5-star reviews. If for some reason you're like, oh, you know what? I want to see who else is over on there and find out for yourself why people are over at Underdog. It's easy. All you got to do is choose higher or lower than your favorite player's stats. Home runs, strikeouts, total bases, all of those things available over there. And you can do it in a mix and match sports situation as well, as we get closer to football season as well. Once your entry feels good, you can play with as little of $1 and get everything right. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See underdogfantasy.com/web/deposit-match-terms. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It's the Nissan 4th of July sale, and 0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 60 months on brand new Rogue, Muranos, and Pathfinders. Or lock in 1.9% for 72 months, even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Need power? Get up to $6,000 in total rebates on new Frontiers. These are the hottest deals of the summer, but hurry, they won't last long. Visit ReiselmanNissan.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
It's not too late to enjoy your summer with a new or improved deck. Go to PowellExteriorsKC.com to schedule a consultation today. Get your free estimate now, and you could be enjoying your new deck or patio in a matter of weeks. You are one click away from your best summer ever.
At KCUC, you see the best in KC. As the region's premier urology and oncology center, KCUC stands out for 3 reasons. 1, experience. With 50-plus providers, you're seen faster when you need it. 2, convenience. 25-plus offices means care close to home to make each visit easy. 3, technology. We offer the most advanced treatments available. You deserve the best. Why go anywhere else? Trust Kansas City's largest, most experienced and advanced urology team. Visit KCUC.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Hey there, Kansas Lottery here. And we want to get together for a game or two. Meet us at your favorite retailer or wherever you like to buy your tickets, and we can let the games begin. There's a lot of fun and cash on the line. See KSLottery.com for details.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have over 20 years of experience servicing the KC Metro. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, as well as commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow Service. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone, now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
David is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years, and I'm from Flowery Branch, Georgia. When I first started taking Prevagen, I noticed stuff just seemed to come together and fit like a jigsaw puzzle. When I have customers come in, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription, and I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. I wouldn't recommend something like Prevagen if I didn't think it was worth it because it works so good for me. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really worked so good. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Where can you find an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire? Metal by the Foot, located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is time for the Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold.
Brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. Check them out at allweatherdecks.net.
Someone said that Rich Hill has been able to legally drink longer than Cags has been alive.
Is that right? Or are they just guessing? God, it's got to be close. How old is Rich Hill?
Well, let me look up Rich Hill.
I'll look up Jack Caglione age. He's 21, right?
Rich Hill is 45 years old.
Cag's 22? 22.
Yeah. Yep.
Got him by a couple of years.
Uh-huh.
So Rich Hill had graduated high school, been able to legally drink for multiple years before Jack Caglione was born.
That's right.
I got to say, one of my favorite moments of that game last night was Vinny and Jack Caglione. And obviously, Vinny's idea trying to convince Jack to do it. That Italian-style kiss.
Yes.
All this, we're Italian brothers stuff together. I love it. I'm a huge fan. And not just because I'm wearing my Meatballs Go Pasta La Vista shirt today, but just in general, it's fun and lighthearted and easy. That's all.
All right, let's talk some Chiefs football. It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We've talked plenty about Josh Simmons. It's the number one question mark heading into training camp. We'll be up in St. Joe in less than 2 weeks doing shows up there. Hope to see you guys up there. We'll be having a player stop by each and every show. Maybe Josh Simmons. That'd be nice, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be Josh Simmons, especially if he's healthy and practicing. I thought it was weird, though. I'm already seeing people are discussing, well, did they overpay for Jalen Moore if he doesn't play? What
I mean,
what are we,
can it be both yes, but I don't care?
Yeah, I guess.
Like technically be overpaying a backup, but I don't care.
What I guess I'm confused by is we all saw what happened at left tackle last year. They had to move their all-pro guard to left tackle. It was not that Joe Thuney was a disaster. The situation was a disaster. And you want to throw numbers at a problem.
And they had not drafted him yet when they signed him.
And Jalen Moore, if in fact he ends up not being the starting left tackle, he was your safety valve in case somebody else took Josh Simmons. Or if Josh Simmons is not available to start the season. Both, by the way, it could happen. We don't know if Josh Simmons will be available for the start of the season. I understand Andy Reid has said he'll be available day one of camp, but we really don't know.
Andy Reid's told me a lot of lies over the years.
So
I'll wait to see if that one's true.
If Josh Simmons is not good to go, then it obviously was a great decision to still sign Jalen Moore, or to sign, say, Jalen Moore. If Josh Simmons is good to go, wins the job, starts week one, it still was a fine plan, assuming Josh Simmons ends up being the guy. Jalen Moore, yeah, like you're going to pay him a nice chunk of money. You had to. You had to make sure you didn't go into the draft with literally no other option. Imagine if we were sitting here right this second and they had not signed Jalen Moore, and we still had the questions about Josh Simmons' health, which we would have, and they were going into St. Joe in 2 weeks, and it was Josh Simmons, and he was competing again with Wanye Morris. I guess they could have signed some other random veteran by now, but maybe they would have brought back DJ Humphries in this hypothetical. I don't know. He's now on the Rams, I think.
Yeah.
But no, I will not be sitting back here in November. If Josh Simmons is playing and playing well, I will not be saying, man, they wasted their money on Jalen Moore. I really won't, because you got to get it right.
Care.
You got to get it right. And you got to find a long-term answer. And if they find that, that's all anybody should care about.
Yeah, it's like saying if they had spent let's say they had 3 second-round picks last year and they took 3 left tackles, but one more, it's fine. Just as long as you finally solve this problem for more than 1 year at a time. Like the simple fact that he has played in as many Super Bowls as he has and just not repeating the left tackle ever. He just has to have a new left tackle every time he goes to the Super Bowl. It's stupid. He should have someone he trusts, someone on that side who handles things. The other part about this that I think the people who are asking that question are not forgetting. So it's like, let's say you threw the money down the drain this year because, yeah, you are paying him a good chunk of money to not play for you this year, right? To be a backup. Is you're not considering the fact that in the second year of this deal, who's to say he can't be Jawan Taylor? Jawan Taylor could be cut after the end of this year. You might still get a full year of Moore at starter, at tackle. It might just be right tackle in 2026. So if I found the good answer at left tackle with Simmons, and then I get a full year as a starter and the best backup tackle maybe in the sport for a year, I'll take the safety net. Yeah, you give me a solid backup left and right tackle, and you tell me for a year he gets to start after Jawan Taylor's gone, or if Jawan Taylor struggles, he starts half the season for Jawan Taylor too. I'm not here to complain. It still seems like a worthy risk to me.
Yeah, we're bringing this up only because KC Kingdom, local website, had a headline of Jalen Moore already looks like he's overpaid, and that's what has prompted this conversation.
Because it looks like Joshua Simmons has a good
leg up.
But
I just can you imagine after the issues that they've had if they were just banking on the guy they draft who had an uncertain timetable for training camp?
Yeah.
He's sitting here saying they didn't do enough.
And
so it's just funny to me.
And what, the contract's 2 years, 30?
Yes.
It's not I don't, even if he doesn't start, I don't even know how much of an overpay is that.
Right.
I mean, how much is it really much of an overpay compared to what other, like how much did, what's his name?
Jalen Moore had.
How much did Dan Moore get paid?
Well, Dan Moore got paid a ridiculous amount of money.
He got 4 for 80. He got $20 million. He got 4 for 80.
Jalen Moore has $11.1 million cap hit this year. Next year, it's 18.7. Overall, in this 2-year, $30 million deal, $21 million is guaranteed.
And I'm curious, how much money is Jawan Taylor's cap hit for if he were to play
worse
next year?
This is it for Juwan Taylor.
Oh, okay, this is it. I'm just
I
saying.
just think kind of no matter what,
if you were to bring him back, like even the cap hit next year that Jalen Moore has, if he's your right tackle, you're saving a significant amount of money by him just playing.
Juwan Taylor, if after this season they can move on for $7.3 million, otherwise it's $27 million. My guess is they're going to be moving on after this season. I have no problem if Jalen Moore doesn't play a single down for the Chiefs. That means Josh Simmons probably is the real deal. You guys would agree?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Probably. Although, again, I'm going in with a little more reservation, I told you, just based on my excitement over Kingsley winning the job
I'm saying
last
if Jalen Moore never plays a single snap.
Oh,
meaning
well, then he is the deal. Yeah. He's at the very least a good enough starting left tackle to be on a playoff contending team, yeah.
And could you imagine they didn't sign Jalen Moore and then Josh Simmons goes pick 23? Then who the heck is the left tackle?
Yeah.
So that's why I have no problem if Jalen Moore never plays.
Because he appears to be the guy who will at least give you, and it's still limited enough. He hasn't played enough to know for sure, but Jalen Moore appears to be on paper to the guy who will at least get you league average left tackle play. And what happened last year is their backup plan to league average left tackle play was an oft-injured Wanye Morris and a guard. And so, they weren't getting league average left tackle play because they had to go way far down the list there for a bit and ran into those issues as it relates to it. And so I don't even care if he doesn't play a single snap because, again, it was a safety net plan to make sure you didn't get stuck in the same situation you did the year before. Putting in additional resources at, one of the 5 most important positions in the sport and what has been your single biggest Achilles heel in your 2 Super Bowl losses, I'm fine.
Well, and let's say Josh Simmons plays, but he has a setback, or if Juwan Taylor gets hurt, well, you've got a guy with some experience
available.
with a nice, he filled in for Trent Williams last year. We've questioned whether or not Jalen Moore can be a starter, but I know if he has to fill in for a game, I feel pretty good actually. If that's the case.
Well, and based on the numbers that you just said, even if it takes a year for him to actually play, if you pay Juwan Taylor the money to cut him, that's 7 plus the 18 cap hit. That you're saving $2 million compared to the cap hit of Juwan Taylor.
Jalen Moore could be the right tackle next year.
Yeah, I think the backup plan could turn into actually a solution at a different place. And if I would assume Jalen Moore would be solid based on him learning from Trent Williams. It's not left tackle, it's right tackle. There's less pressure at right tackle than there is left anyways. He'd be able to nestle in there and he'd be next to Trey Smith theoretically. They pay him. It wouldn't be as much of a big ask, if you will, I guess, compared to what they'd be asking Josh Simmons to do at left.
I'll be honest, I was I was pretty shocked to see that this is already being discussed like it was a mistake. One, we don't know if Josh Simmons is even gonna be the starting left tackle. Two, we all have watched how could you possibly be upset that they threw numbers in capital again at an obvious problem?
Oh, no.
I don't get it. I don't know why you'd be upset by that.
I think it's just the idea of but here's the problem.
Well, sure, ideally Cody Kingsley would have worked out last year. Of course, that's the ideal scenario.
But it's also just if you knew Simmons was going to get drafted by you and you knew he'd be healthy, but do you know how much of that you'd have to know? There is no way they could have known that. At the time they had to sign Jalen Moore at the opening of free agency, they did not know who their left tackle at all was going to be. And look, I still think, and they tried for Ronnie Stanley and they didn't get him. Dan Moore was too expensive for what he was never available. But they obviously were trying to start those conversations. Sure. It was pretty clear that they were one of the interested parties in Ronnie Stanley, who wasn't available, but technically was a free agent, so he was available. But he wasn't going to leave Baltimore, so it turns out. But they were looking for choices that did not include also drafting a first-round tackle. But because Jalen Moore still has less than 20 games as starting left tackle, they had to overpay a little bit. But they had to do that. And I sometimes I view the positions on aggregate. If it's Simmons and Moore and Simmons wins, they're paying on aggregate for the next 2 years for $30 million for left tackle. I'm fine. I look at it sometimes that way in the same sense that these teams who have a rookie wide receiver but a high paid one. What are they paid together? And that's the other part. Right now, you can afford to spend more money at left tackle because what do they pay their wide receivers? Their top paid skill position player is Travis Kelce. And then every other skill position player they're making borderline makes league minimum. Besides Hollywood Brown, who makes $7 million a year. They might have the lowest priced skilled position group in the NFL. Am I crazy? Wide receiver, running back, tight end. It's gotta be
bottom 10.
5.
Yeah, bottom 10, bottom 5 in football.
And the crazy thing is that you're getting more output than
for sure.
you're paying for, of course, with the 2 rookies.
Yeah.
Or with the 2 on the
I know
rookie
who you
deals.
meant, yeah. No, I agree
with
with you.
Rashee
I think
and
that's
Xavier.
fair. Let's get back into something that caught our attention on a national level. Mark Schlereth, we all know, obviously does local radio in Denver, but he's now on a national platform hosting breakfast ball there on FS1. And he was talking about how he believes players, organizations view the Chiefs this upcoming year compared to the past.
Now, I think part of that division conversation goes back to the idea that at least it's a more competitive division. The reason why we don't have to kick it around in the AL East is not because the Bills are more feared. It's because they play in a joke of a division with no other competitive football team to go with it. Honestly, this would be the greatest news on the planet for the Chiefs. As I told you earlier, the idea that teams, if they decide to take the Chiefs a little more lightly, please, I'd welcome it. But why? For 7 consecutive years, they've either played in the Super Bowl in overtime in the AFC title game. I have a hard time believing that this is really how other teams feel. I really do. Coaches and players, anyway. Maybe fan bases, but coaches and players, you're trying to tell me they take the Chiefs lightly?
Yeah, look, I think Bo Nix is going into the season into practice fearing the Chiefs? No. I mean, that's just not a make. You don't get to this level and have success that all these starting quarterbacks, say what you will, how we rank them out, but still, you're obviously very good at what you do if you're a starting quarterback in the NFL. You don't get to this level without thinking you can compete with anybody. Like, that's the mindset you have to have. You've already lost it if you don't, right? So I don't believe any of them, quote unquote, fear them. I really don't. But what Mark Schlereth said there, boy, oh boy, is the Super Bowl a powerful thing, because that's all it has to be based off of. One game, biggest game of the year, admittedly, but one game. And it's not like it's the only Super Bowl Mahomes has played in, okay? He's been in 5 of them. But one Super Bowl where they got their butts whooped. And now suddenly people just think they're a completely different team. We just got done talking about the left tackle situation. There's a chance, we don't know the answer to it yet, but there's a chance left tackle might be
way better.
A fixed situation. And the wide receiver room you just referenced about in Drew about the cost, if Rice, Worthy, and Brown are available, that's going to be the best spot they've had in a couple years. And so, in the defense, last time I checked, still has Trent McDuffie, still has Spags, still has Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they're not top 5, but I don't think they're 20th, okay? You know what I mean? So, and they won 15 games last year. They can win 12 or 13 this year and be better on offense. As weird as that sounds, they can, and I think they will. It's just weird that they seem so vulnerable because everybody on international television saw them get their butts whooped. We had never seen them really play like that. It was worse than the Bucs game in the Super Bowl. And yet we're doing this again. People counted them out after the Bucs Super Bowl and said, it's over. And people are making that same mistake again. That this team is just not going to be the top dog in the AFC anymore. That seems crazy to me.
Based on their schedule, they can obviously change that opinion very quickly. I think some of it kind of goes back to something Mahomes had said on Kay Adams in that interview that had aired a couple days ago on her show. Up and Adams, right? Is the name?
Yeah, I think so.
Which is like, I think the 4th year in a row, it seems like their edict in the offseason is having fun is what's going to make us good. And I think when you look at the Chiefs for the last 2 years, not that they don't get the level of respect, but it doesn't look easy for them anymore. Like, they won 15 games last year, but it looks hard. Like, it looks like work. It feels like you're having to earn it. And you know this. Every year there's a team in the NFL where it looks like winning is easy for them. They just show up, whip the ass of the team across the field, move on about their day, and it seems like they can just go elbow in elbow. But the problem is that I have excuses, I think, for the last 2 years that make sense why it would be harder, and it hasn't stopped them. What is the league going to do if they wake up at the end of September this year and the Chiefs are back on offense to any level that they've been at previously, just a top 5 offense, and still maintaining some level of defensive superiority that they have over the rest of the league for what you mentioned, the talent they still have on the roster. I think if any team is actually feeling the way Schlereth is saying is like, well, we're worried about him, but not the way we used to be worried about him, that the wake-up call could come quick and fast.
First 2 weeks,
for
man.
the NFL.
First 2 weeks. And that, international stage in Brazil against the Chargers, YouTube game on Friday. Then you turn around, you play a Sunday afternoon game. I think it's on Fox against the defending champs in the Philadelphia Eagles. If their offense in particular looks really good, and especially if they start 2-0, it's going to be hilarious how quickly things shift to, here they were so sick of them. It can change so quickly. But the reverse is also true, admittedly, right? If this team gets off to a rocky start, people are going to say, see? And even then, it'll still be too early, in my opinion, to count them out. But I think the Chiefs are in a great spot actually heading into the season. It has been a couple of years since seemingly the pressure was off on a national level. I'm not saying that they don't have their own internal pressure to succeed.
But it does seem like the national
pressure and spotlight to a certain extent is off. I just think it can be right back on them in 2 weeks.
How was the national spotlight off?
It's crazy.
This team
crazy.
Has gone to 3 consecutive Super Bowls and 5 of the last 6. I cannot emphasize that enough. You're like, the spotlight's off a little bit. And I don't even disagree with the statement, Gold. But the idea that the shine would be off a little on a franchise that has been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls is crazy.
But that's how people are acting, man.
Crazy.
It's weird. I think it's a lot of wishful thinking. We know a lot of people were
speak it into existence. It's like a dream board situation.
Look, we know, and I get it. This is what happens when you were the Warriors, whether you were the Patriots. People enjoyed seeing you lose and get your butts kicked in the Super Bowl. I get it. That's just part of fandom, right? We've all been there at some point in our sports life. Where there's a team you get sick of seeing win, and you're happy. And 99% of sports fans that watch the Super Bowl were happy with what happened in the Super Bowl. They just were.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the reality of it.
Man, cheer for the Eagles. Dirty work.
Yeah, but because of that, some people lost their damn mind and act like this team is over. That Mahomes is 40, Andy Reid's gone, Kelsey's gone. No, none of that happened. They're all still here. Mahomes is 30. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's pretending like something didn't exist that did. Again, I think what you're saying is it's what's the dream board stuff that people talk about when they're powered. It was a big Oprah thing or something. You got to put it in here, so you put it into the universe, and now it's gonna happen. Gold's got his poster up on his wall when he's 10 with a Lamborghini and a supermodel, and he's like, "This is my life one day. This is my dream world." You're like, you can wish for all those things. You better sure as hell get a job in which you can buy one.
Yes. And hell, Mahomes isn't even 30 yet. He actually gets a couple games at 29 still. It's 2 weeks at 29 in season. Then he's 30.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, not even 30 yet. Man, I'll tell you what, the money stuff is always funny because we didn't even say anything that would indicate this, but we're still trying to get Desmond to switch to. And briefly, a few were available and some targets around the city. So I said, hey, man, we'll drive and we'll go look. We'll drive and we'll go look. We missed it by one person.
Oh!
I watched him take it. Pretty hurtful. But so,
oh no! What was Desmond's reaction? What was his reaction?
We were prepping him before that they might not have it. He actually took it pretty well.
Okay.
But on the way there, he was like, guys, I'm worried. I was like, about what? He's like, I really want to switch to. So he's like, but I don't want us to be broke. Is it too much money? And I was like, we're fine, dude. We can buy the Switch.
How considerate of Desmond.
It's all good, dude.
Considerate.
We're not going to be broke if we buy it. We've set aside the money.
Desmond, if you're willing to just eat.
We appreciate your sacrifice here.
Frozen meals, Desmond, for the next
If you're willing to eat bologna sandwiches
That's right. We're ramen
for the next month.
That's right.
We're ramen for the next month.
I still can't believe looking out. I'm done sending you links, though. I'm done. I've tried.
Did you send me another one?
No, but I've sent you the 2 or 3.
You sent me the 2, and I tried to. Yeah. The one I missed.
I think you'll be able to just walk in here in about a month.
Amazon
and get
officially
them.
has their list now, so I entered for that, and I'm on the. I think in a month you'll be able to just walk in and buy one. But I told him we could keep an eye out for him, and we tried.
I was going to get the Switch. I decided to get. I was like, how much am I really going to play this thing? Let's be real. And I sat down with my actual thoughts for a second, and I was like, let's make a smarter financial decision. I bought an iPad instead.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like I'll use that more, the iPad Pro. I feel like I'll use that more than the Switch.
So you got an iPad at the house for...
I do. I need to get a keyboard for it still so I can start using it for the show. That's why it's not here. But
sure.
I was like, I'm going to use that so much more than the Switch. Like
for all different stuff.
Yeah, because we were just talking about
I really do like putting like music and shows and stuff on while I'm cooking and stuff. I like having things on in the kitchen.
The college football video game we were talking about with Drew yesterday, and it's like that game. I'm gonna probably play it during this free trial, and then maybe I'll buy it. Like I don't sit and play 3 hours of video games. So the same thing would apply with the Switch. Am I gonna really just sit there and
play? Back to Alex and his 10-year-old dream board. Imagine what 10-year-old Alex would think of this. Alex, he had a video game show, a video game podcast. He'd hate your ass. Mm-hmm. He'd be so mad at you for just quitting on your dream. You know, your dream of video games.
Yeah. All right. Up next,
let's 10. Is that how old you were when you did
that? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Range.
We'll get to what's trending, and then we'll tell you more about the Wittizens. We'll also get back into what Jack Caglione was able to do yesterday.
This is Cody and Gold.
You will not decorate my balls, period. I will decorate my balls.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's Gold, and Circa Millions and Circa Survivor are back with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prizes. Circa Million, pick 5 games against the spread each week, 126 ways to win with $6 million guaranteed. Circa Survivor, 1 pick a week, no point spread, last the longest to win it all. $15 million guaranteed. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere, $21 million guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details.
Gear up, race fans. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend is roaring into Iowa Speedway July 11th to the 13th, featuring the only NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader weekend on the 2025 schedule. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend has become one of the most anticipated and action-packed events in racing. Tickets are going fast. Score yours today and get ready to feel the rush at the fastest short track on the planet. Visit IndyCar@Iowa.com for tickets. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend at Iowa Speedway, the ultimate summer racing event.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters.
FanDuel, because nothing says summer fun quite like adding excitement to the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Summer sports are calling your name. That means baseball under the stadium lights, golf on pristine green fairways, soccer matches between world-class goals, and all the action-packed moments that happen in between. You're going to spend all day following your favorite sports on your phone anyway, so you might as well make them more thrilling, more exciting with FanDuel. Open up the app today to see the daily promotions. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use my promo code to get everything started. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issues, non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get out with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Learn more about becoming a sharper, safer hunter or outdoors person with the Missouri Department of Conservation Lake City Shooting Range and Outdoor Education Center. Regardless of your experience, we can help you master firearms and archery, as well as map and compass, wildlife identification, and many other skills. Open every Wednesday through Sunday in Blue Springs. Learn more at mdc.mo.gov/Lake City. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Holy cow, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor Company gives its dealers for excellence in customer satisfaction in both sales and service and their sales penetration numbers. So we are super honored to have received this award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
David is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years, and I'm from Flowery Branch, Georgia. When I first started taking Prevagen, I noticed stuff just seemed to come together and fit like a jigsaw puzzle. When I have customers come in, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription, and I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. I wouldn't recommend something like Prevagen if I didn't think it was worth it because it works so good for me. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really worked so good. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals win in walk-off fashion, of course, last night. We're going to talk more about it. How about Nick Lofton? Heck of a two-game stretch for him. He gets the walk-off hit. Chris Bubich on the mound tonight as the Royals are going for a sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're going to talk to Vern in about a half hour. Also, don't forget Vern's On Deck show tonight, an hour before the game.
Trying to get a little something going here before the All-Star break. Get themselves back in the mix. They now sit 4 games back, I believe, of a playoff spot in the AL hunt. Next up on What's Trending, Chet Holmgren gets a rookie max contract, 5-year, $250 million extension. They've handed out now more than $550 million to both him and SGA in the last 2 weeks. So the Thunder certainly spending a little bit of dough. But that rookie max, it's like, you just don't find 7-footers who can shoot very often in the NBA. They often get paid that. Rookie max at $250, probably worth it for if you're an NBA team. But they're going to get shoved into the luxury tax at a quickness with those kind of
they're
deals.
still set up so nicely for the next 3 years or so with the capital that they have, draft capital they still have, and obviously the reigning MVP. And then Chet Holmgren, I really think is just going to keep getting better. He still hasn't reached his potential yet.
He was nowhere close to the best player on the floor in a finals win. He was like the sixth best player on the floor in a finals win.
He missed some time this year too. I think like that contract's well deserved by with where the NBA money is at, and I also think he's still getting better. Next up on What's Trending, some injury news in the NFL. One of the best left tackles in football, Tristan Wirfs, had his knee scoped, going to likely start the season on the PUP, according to Adam Schefter. So he will not be available early on in the season, it looks like, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I understand they're not on the Chiefs schedule, right, or anything like that, but it's just still of note. A Bucs team that has won the NFC South for 3 consecutive seasons. If you think they're vulnerable, new OC, now they're starting left tackles out. What does this do for Baker Mayfield and his success early on? So that's a key injury. Talking about one of the best left tackles in football.
Yeah, that is a massive injury. It hurts a little bit your thought that Baker Mayfield's got a good chance at the MVP.
Yeah, 40
if he's
to
not
1.
going to be protected from Tristan Wirfs.
That is true.
That certainly adds a little bit of an element to that. It's going to be tough for them. Next up they've won the division, 3 years in a row?
3 years, yep.
Yeah. Next up on What's Trending, Frank White recall election set for August 26th. At the moment, it depends on how it looks. There's some arguing about whether or not Frank White can veto portions of this. I got to be honest. The idea that you can veto a portion of a thing trying to kick you out of office seems crazy. It's more about county law versus state law. There's some stuff that says he has to get 10 weeks in order for the recall election, and then there's some council stuff that they'd agreed to that suggests it could be less than that. So they're all trying to sit out there. But right now, they've set a date of August 26th for Jackson County voters to decide if Frank White should remain as the county commissioner.
Lastly, on What's Trending, we announced the Wittizens, obviously, on Monday, the officially sanctioned fan club for Bobby Wood Jr. We are the senior Wittizens. More details on Sunday's launch event. It, of course, is the Bobby Wood Jr. Look-alike contest. Beginning at 10:30, we will have barbers out there giving haircuts. If you're someone that says, hey, I don't have the hair to do that. Maybe I'm bald. No problem. You can still enter the look-alike contest. We will have wigs out there as well. And we have confirmed the winner, one of the prizes, there could be others, one of the prizes, the winner, and a guest will get to sit with us in the Crown Club that day.
So we're heading down to the
and we're told
TV
TV section too. So we'll get you on TV.
So make sure you stay looking like Bobby Witt Jr. Alex and I will keep our wigs on, our glasses on, our crowns on. We got to adjust it a little bit throughout the week, just because I've been wearing this thing for now 10 hours this week. It's a lot. Sometimes you got to make the adjustment. Yeah, the winner will get a chance. Alex and I will bookend you down in the crown section with the TV cameras on to help launch the Wittizens. We figured, I'll just be honest with you. We asked. We thought there's no better way than to let people know what a Wittizen is and how to become a Wittizen than to get you on those seats that you see on FanDuel TV. So that's where we'll be, somewhere inside a camera shot, dressed up.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We'll talk to Vern in about 25 minutes or so. Don't forget, though, on a Wednesday, you're looking at what to eat today, what to get for lunch. Well, you got to go to Jefferson's. Jefferson's has a new happy hour as well. Going to save you some money. It's 7 days a week. Enjoy half off appetizers as well. Half off your bar tab, whether it's Jefferson's Lenexa, Jefferson's up in North KC. And then on Mondays, it's all-day happy hour. They got the same great deals during their reverse happy hour 7 days a week. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters, up in Lenexa or in North Kansas City. So we were talking during What's Trending about the walk-off win. Always good. Always feels good to have a walk-off win. Nick Lofton coming up big. And the offense has now put together 6 or 7 straight games where they have been very effective. And the big three have been hitting. Vinny continues to play well. Bobby, Salvi. Last night it was Lofton. Last night Caglione gets his first home run at Kauffman Stadium. And I think, we'll find out as the week goes on. It feels like that last night, maybe, just maybe, is a game in which it kind of unlocks everything for him a little bit and allows him to take another deep breath and breathe again.
He hammered that ball.
And it helps not only because he hits a home run and that just got to feel good to see just a pure missile go out to right field, but also when everybody else is starting to do their thing, you don't feel like you got to play hero or anything like that. You just go play some baseball. I know he only had one hit of the game, and so you're like, calm down. For a guy that had one hit, one was a homer, and the other one was an unbelievable at-bat in the 9th inning where he truly just did what you had to do. Move the runner over. Fly ball to the outfield. You move Michael over to third, and, of course, Nick Lofton does the damage after that, and the Royals walk it off, and they are in position to sweep the Pirates tonight.
They are having, obviously, a pretty good run here. We'll talk more about that, but the Caglione stuff is easily one of the biggest things to come out of that game, even though it was only a couple of at-bats we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The homer is what we expected to see. He's going to run into some. That's even the ball that, most can't get out of the park. It's too low. It shouldn't leave the park. But because he hit 114 miles an hour, it manages to. Yeah, dude, it was a rocket. It does. But honestly, even more than that one, and that one is important, the one in the 9th inning, He gets down 1-2. The team, and it's a big spot. There's nobody out. There are 2 runners on. A couple weeks before that, you guys remember, he came up to bat, down a run with the bases loaded and 1 out, and he rolled into a double play. And that moment's probably been sticking with him, where you feel like you're costing the team wins, Gold. You're costing the team a chance to win. Those things eat at you a little bit. So you got another big spot. 2 people on, nobody out. What can you do to assist the team? And he got down in the count. And was it an out? Yeah. But he did what you said, had to do to get something to win. Getting that guy to third, borderline ensured the win. It didn't make it 100%, but it went from like 50-50 shot we get a win in this game in the 9th when we got 2 on and nobody out to 80% chance we get a win tonight with a guy on first and third and 1 out where we feel like anything in play, especially a fast runner at third and Michael, is going to get us the win. That felt so big for the team. But now they're getting confidence again, so maybe I can, maybe we can start feeling good about it again. They're off Thursday, right? So they can get the sweep tonight and then, take a day.
I'm not just going to change just because they had a walk-off win last night. The same thing applies. I need to see the offense do it for more than 6 or 7 games, though, to actually think that the offense has truly turned a corner. Because things, as you know, change quickly. If all of a sudden today they don't score and then they struggle all weekend to score, we're right back in the exact same spot. So I'm not going to.
Yeah, you don't have to change your opinion on that yet.
Enjoy the last couple of nights. It's been fun, right? Yep. Walk-offs are fun. Jack getting a home run is great. Bobby's playing great. Like all that is fun and great. And they get the Mets this weekend, and hopefully they carry it over to that series as well. But the overarching view of where the season is going, I'm not changing that after 1 week. That would be foolish, I think, at this point in time.
They won every single game, and all of a sudden we're a game back in the playoff spot.
Finish this homestand out strong. I'm not saying they have to win out, but finish it strong. And then that first series after the All-Star break, show me that the bats are still there. And then we can have a different conversation. And also, are they acquiring a bat to help? Because I think even with the way the offense has played for 6 or 7 games now, you still don't have enough. So who are you bringing in to help the offense for this year and beyond? That still has to happen if you want to change your overarching kind of view of where the season is going. But yeah, I mean, it's been positive, no doubt. And, as long as Seth Lugo keeps pitching the way he is, that's also a great sign, as we discussed earlier, about what that maybe does for his value. He hasn't done anything to deter that. And for Cags, it's someone said, hey, you guys said after he had a home run in Texas, maybe that's what allows him to take a deep breath. Oh, we definitely didn't happen. That's why I said, is it the question is, feels like, is this the moment that gets him going? We're going to find out. It wasn't the game in Texas where he hit 2 home runs clearly was not the moment that got him going. Let's find out if last night was. It feels like it could. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not here to tell you he's getting ready to hit 400 for the next month, but I hope he does. Little news in the baseball world is a little teaser for the future. Okay. I did see, it's being reported now, in the All-Star game, Major League Baseball will use the ABS challenge system during the All-Star game next week. So the automatic balls and strike system, the way they use it in the minors, will be used in the All-Star game next Tuesday night as a precursor probably to what you would expect in the season next year, I would think, or the next 2 years in there. A little bit interesting, right? That's not nothing. It'd be kind of interesting to see the players actually try to utilize it, because most of the guys in the big leagues have had no taste with it. They've been in the big leagues long enough, Gold, that it wasn't even being kicked around in the minors yet. But they're going to use it in Atlanta. Could be a part of Major League Baseball as early as next year. They have not made that decision yet, but they're going to use it for the Midsummer Classic. Find out whether or not they agree or not. By the way, they polled, I was just reading the article now, and this doesn't surprise me at all. Major League Baseball say they polled 72% of fans said that they were in favor of automatic balls and strikes. Why wouldn't you be?
No, it's great.
Are you tired of, I've seen so many missed calls every game. You're just like, we don't need this. It's making your job easier.
Yeah, I love it. We've seen it in minor league games we've gone to a couple times this year. It takes 5 seconds. It's awesome. It also is fun because conversationally you can then break down a little bit of, why did they waste their challenge in that spot? Was that the right time to use it? You have an umpire that potentially gets proven wrong, but on the flip side, the ump is feeling good because they challenged it 3 times and he was actually correct.
Adds a little juice in the game.
All of it. There's just a little extra intrigue into the game. For an all-star game, it won't add that, but it'll just be fine. It's just give fans a little taste of what's to come in 2026.
Was I the only one who liked when the all-star game meant home field advantage in the World Series?
I didn't mind it as much as other people did, yeah. I didn't have as big of an issue. I know people thought it was gimmicky, but actually,
gimmicky.
I didn't mind it.
Real tangible.
Made you wanna win.
They gimmick nothing.
They need like a game that's a gimmick.
Oh, you're saying you can't have a gimmick for the World Series.
Yeah.
I see.
I think when it's the best players playing and you know that these guys are probably all competing with their respective teams
No one's stopping. You know what's on the line?
It makes them play for it.
Yeah. Like, it's not gimmicky if you actually have to win it. You're playing for it. You know you're playing for it. You know that it matters that you're playing for it. What's gimmicky about that? Now, it's a little bit weird that you're a mix of players and pitchers and all this stuff on the American League, the National League, but, they were trying to make it, it is. USA, obviously the NBA, the hockey is the best one. Everyone should just make it. If you've got an international sport, USA against the world is always the gimmick that works. We liked the nations, right? We all agreed that we liked the what was it? 4 Nations? Is that what they called it for the NHL?
4 Nations face-off, yep.
Yeah.
That was good.
Always a good way to do it. Absolutely a good way to do it. I want to make this. No, you're going to say.
I said text line was Matt. We were saying anything positive about Cags. We're not allowed to do that, I guess, until he hits over a certain bar. We're not allowed to say anything positive now. That's
okay.
Yeah, be careful. You're not allowed to do that.
I'll be mindful.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I mean, yesterday we were talking about him potentially needing to get sent down soon, but okay, sure. Look, it was a good game. He had a nice game. It was the best thing to come out of that game. Is that hopefully that it continues. That's all. Drew did not personally request this to be discussed on the show, but
sure?
I saw the clip.
You sure? I saw his tweet.
He tweeted about it?
Of course.
Then maybe Drew.
I'm going to say the same. No. Do not pin this on me. It was in the rundown. I didn't say anything. We had to talk about it. I didn't say anything.
I thought maybe he put it in, but then I thought
I did not.
It looked like it was gold.
No, I put it in the rundown, but
I put in the
he tweeted
because he already
it.
drew attention to it.
Yes.
Obviously, the new Netflix documentary is out. Quarterback Joe Burrow is a part of that. As a result of that, there's a clip of Steve Spagnolo approaching Joe Burrow and having this to say. Other than our guy, you're the best in the business. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this from Spags. One, I actually think he's being honest. Spagnolo's a pretty honest guy. I think he probably means it when he says that he thinks Joe Burrow's the second best quarterback in the league. So do Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and the others take offense? Is it kind of a knife twist to be like, other than the guy who's way better than you who keeps beating you in football games, you're pretty good? Is that like a twist of the knife from Spags? Because I feel like it is without trying to be.
Yeah, on one hand, I definitely was like, wow, like basically, you're really good, but you're still not as good as our guy. Thanks. Like that's
See you later,
that's
Joe.
one way.
Have
The
a
other
good
end,
evening.
In fairness, he's supposed to say that.
I also think Josh Allen was probably watching that saying, wait, he said that to me too. So look, in all seriousness, Joe Burrow, we've discussed this plenty of times on this show, obviously, with Drew being a Bengals guy. I think Joe Burrow is the third best quarterback in this league, and suddenly that's hating on him, I guess. But no, I still stand by where we've been. I think he's the third best quarterback. I think Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. At some point, results do matter.
So
I'm not big in just on wins and losses for quarterbacks because there's so many factors. But at some
Stats
point,
and MVPs
at some points, it matters. At some point, it matters. Somebody does have an MVP. You can say, well, Joe Burrow has a Super Bowl appearance, which is very fair. That's why I'm not telling you Joe Burrow is fifth. I think he's the third best quarterback in the league, and Lamar Jackson's the fourth best.
Listen, I'm not going to say anything other than you listen to your defensive coordinator and you listen to what he says, and that's what you should believe.
I mean, we're kind of just like splitting hairs between second and third. Alex and I, make it seem like
you're fighting for second so badly. I mean,
you and Alex, yeah, like it's got to be second so bad. You should be fighting for
hold on
first.
a second.
Stand up
hang
for
on.
your guy.
No, hang on a second. So now it's a problem. Hold on. So now that Spags says it, wait, so you're fighting for second now, and it doesn't mean anything. All of a sudden, when your guy says, hey, Spags Joe Burrow's actually better, all of a sudden, well, you're just fighting for second now.
No, I think
you don't
he's
have
saying,
anything to it. That's what this is turned into.
I think kind of a shot
now.
intending to be a shot.
I think he's saying that like you were
he
acting like
coaches on the team that
hating
guy
on,
plays on. He has to say it. He's not going to say you're better than Mahomes when he
Of course
coaches
not.
on the
But
Chiefs.
I don't think he would mean that. I think Cody was just saying like when you and I have gone back and forth about this, I've said he's third. You're acting like I'm saying he's the 10th best quarterback in the league. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy. Second or third, we're not that far off here.
No, but I will say that like what really stood out, and we were having this conversation a little before the show, is the more and more I think about where a lot of teams are. Some teams and some organizations lately have underperformed because Patrick Mahomes has forced them to underperform, right? Like he's kept Josh Allen out of Super Bowls. He kept Lamar Jackson out of Super Bowls. He's kept the 49ers from winning Super Bowls, whatever. He has forced some organizations to underperform what should have been a reasonable expectation for their organization. There is no team who has underperformed more considering their quarterback than Cincinnati. It's an indictment on Zach Taylor probably more than it is anything else. But it speaks to the fact that the Chiefs have been holding some teams' head underwater for a while and preventing them from doing the things they want to do. But Cincinnati's like doing it while shooting themselves in the foot. Like the Chiefs hurt you in that regard, but they're like actively hurting themselves versus it just feels like the Bills and Ravens would have won something if Patrick Mahomes didn't exist. Right? It feels like they're holding them back more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Joe Burrow also is responsible for holding Josh Allen's head under the water. I don't know if you forgot in 2023, he went into Josh Allen's house, outplayed him in the snow, and they dominated him as well. So it's not like Burrow's never played Josh Allen. Josh Allen has never beaten Joe Burrow once in his career.
Yeah, I know. But like, I mean, again, we're talking like, a couple of head-to-head matchups. The regular season was like
I'm just saying that just as much the same as more so because Patrick's played him more in the playoffs and played him more in general. Joe Burrow also is partially responsible for.
Why do you think Josh Allen is overrated?
Not advancing.
Like, why do you take the ranking part? Like, why do you actually think Allen is overrated and you think Burrow's underrated?
The main thing is because, well, one, I think if you just look at, and maybe it's just the national perception of how Joe carries himself, the fact that people think that he's arrogant and all of that stuff that make him think that everybody says that he's not as good as people think that he's not as good as Jalen Hurts. Chris Canty doesn't even think that.
Who's saying that?
There are multiple people who think that Joe Burrow is not as good as Jalen Hurts or any of the other guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
I've never seen anybody say that about
Patrick Mahomes.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts actually gets dogged on more than anybody, and the guy's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one.
If you go and if you search, you will find. Or if you look.
Yeah, I mean, I can find some idiot on the internet too.
That's what I'm saying. Is there's more people than you think that actually believe that way about Joe Burrow. The reason why I think Josh Allen is overrated is because a lot of it really has to do with the MVP stuff from last season, but also
he's overrated because he won.
Josh Allen, if you look at Josh Allen has been handed essentially everything other than an elite number 2 wide receiver. Joe Burrow has not been handed as much as his rollout has not been as much as
offensive players
as Josh. Josh Allen has always had a better offensive line, has always had a better defense, has had a better head coach. Than Joe Burrow has.
Maybe.
Than Joe Burrow has. I think that also an easier division to win than Joe Burrow has. I think those four things, I think all encapsulate the fact that he hasn't been able to make one and also lost to Joe Burrow in the process of trying to get there.
This is your problem to me. Your issue here, this is where I have an issue with your argument. Your argument is Joe Burrow's definitively better than Josh Allen. Josh Allen's overrated because he lost to Joe Burrow in a playoff game, and because the only thing he's accomplished, in your opinion, the MVP, he shouldn't have won.
And also,
but then by that argument, Jalen Hurts is better than Joe Burrow, right?
In terms of what?
He's a better quarterback. He has won a Super Bowl. He's beat your boy. He's better, right?
No.
That's the problem I have.
Because I'm not.
Now it's not head-to-head. It's just vibes.
But if you watch the games and watch them play, I think that Joe Burrow is more accurate than Josh Allen. Period. He is more accurate of a quarterback than Josh Allen. And you can't say, well, that's the wide receiver stuff because guess what? Josh Allen
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Has a better offensive line. He can sit back there where Joe Burrow's throwing the ball in 2 seconds to whoever's open.
Josh Allen is
throwing them open.
Maybe he's 5% better or 5% more accurate.
Jalen Hurts.
He's 40 times better as a runner, Josh Allen. So
I think we all. That's because Josh Allen has to run. I think we all.
So that gets discounted. We take away one of his greatest assets because he has to.
No. I think he's a great player. Again, but again, to me, Lamar Jackson's better than Josh Allen as well. I think Josh Allen's 4. I think Lamar Jackson is better than Josh Allen. I'm surprised that you think Josh Allen's 2 and Lamar Jackson. You think I'm surprised?
I've been pretty consistent on my ranking here with the quarterbacks of 1 through 4.
And I think a lot of people can also say the Jalen Hurts thing. I think collectively, people understand that they have the dominant defense that they've had. The offensive line is one of, if not the best in football. He, in fairness, also has Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley.
Why do the weapons count against Allen and Hurts and these guys, but when we bring up Higgins and Chase for Burrow, it's like,
because they don't have the protection.
And Nixon, who was one of the better
backs, because they don't have the protection or defense to go along with what Joe Burrow has. I think it equals out because everybody says that, well, he's got Jamar Chase and, well, he's got T. Higgins, which Again, you're not going to, if Joe Burrow didn't have them, I still think he'd be a very good quarterback. Josh Allen had Stephon Diggs and did squat.
So wait,
Diggs.
you don't think Josh Allen would be, if he didn't have the defense, you think Josh Allen would just be like a top 10 quarterback?
I would love to see Josh Allen put up the same numbers as Joe Burrow did last year with the offensive line that he had and the defense
but
that he had.
He gets Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, though.
Oh, of course.
I actually think he put up better numbers with a bad defense. I think that always hurts the argument.
I think Joe Burrow does better with what Josh Allen has had than what Josh Allen has done. I think Joe Burrow at least has made one Super Bowl, if not won one, with what Josh Allen has had.
But again, then your argument flaws because then Jalen Hurts should be better. Or Goff should be as good. If it's just about one game difference, the argument falls apart.
No, because
you're talking about a guy who's been to an AFC title game and a guy who's been to a Super Bowl. We're talking about one game.
No, because if you put Jalen Hurts on the Bills with what Josh Allen has had, Jalen Hurts does not make a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow wins a Super Bowl, I think, or makes one, at least what Josh Allen has, where Josh Allen has done nothing. Josh Allen has done nothing with what he has. The narrative around him was he was carrying his team to do this and this and this.
You're right. In the MVP
Lamar
season,
Jackson is better than Josh Allen.
In the MVP season, Josh Allen had studs like Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman running routes for him. My, oh, my. All right, up next, let's talk some Royals baseball. I'm sure we'll get back to that conversation again at some point. But Josh Vern, our Royals insider, is going to join us next.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Drew thinks that if Josh Allen didn't have a defense, he'd be out looking for a new job, maybe a career in IT, Gold, where Centric can make that happen for you in as little as 4 months.
Centric's IT career programs are designed for people who want a new career now, right? Not in 4 years. You don't have time for that. You also maybe have a job right now and hey, I still got to provide for my family. I still have to have that income. I can't just quit my job and not work for X amount of time. What's great about their programs is how flexible it is. You can do in-person, you can do online, you can keep your current job while building your future in IT.
The KC Tech Council reported 3,000 new IT jobs open in March alone. That's 3,000. And Centric prides themselves on helping you find a job after you get done with their program. Talk to our guy, Russ Mondry, who I think is coming in for a fan club soon, over at Centric.com.
The Nissan 4th of July sale is on at Reiselman Nissan, and 0% financing is back. That's right, 0% APR for 5 full years on Rogues, Muranos, and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months, even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Traded your last car at 7% interest? Trade up and lower your payments today. Plus, get up to $6,000 in total rebates on the rugged Frontier. Nobody in Kansas City beats our deals or selection. Visit Reiselman.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows. Get tickets and info at livenation.com. Hardy, Thursday, August 14th at T-Mobile Center. Heart, Thursday, August 21st at T-Mobile Center. Goo Goo Dolls, Friday, August 22nd at Starlight. And Alabama Shakes, Sunday, August 24th at Starlight.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
I'm Kiara Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com, and we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji Antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Almost Andy Reid here. Renner Garage Door has proudly served KC for nearly 70 years. Get your free estimate today, RENNER, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, we'll get to the random question of the day in 12 minutes. You guys can always interact with us on the Jays Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Also, do not forget, great day to take advantage of happy hour over at Jefferson's, whether it's Lenexa or up in North Kansas City. 7 days a week, they have half off appetizers, half off your bar tab at either location. Not to mention, Monday is all-day happy hour. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters. Let's talk some Royals baseball with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. I would guess, Vern, the post-game show a little more enjoyable the last 5 to 6 days or so.
Yeah, winning at home is a lot of fun. The crowds have been very impressive, really, especially despite the losing, right? The past 2 homestands, only 1 win. Last night, a Tuesday night, they get near 23,000. Yeah, great turnouts, and after exciting wins, a lot of people that were in the building want to continue the party. So, yeah, they've been a lot of fun the past few nights. And, you have a game like last night where Cags hits his first home run and had so many people swinging by the booth talking about how grateful they were to be in the building for what we believe is going to be a rather monumental first bomb of a pretty tremendous career.
I know it's one game, and it certainly doesn't mean all of his problems are solved, Vern, but we took it as that was one of the biggest things to come out of the game for me, just a really productive out that mattered a lot in the 9th and helping them get the win, so you can feel good about that. Another good and bad in the game, and then, of course, the home run. I felt like, okay, put together a few games in a row that look like that, and I think you're going to feel a lot better about a guy who I thought could probably use the All-Star break better than more than just about anybody else on the team.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's going to be a game like that's beneficial for a 22-year-old's confidence, especially one that's been spiking the bat, way too much. Some porous body language on that past road trip, understandable, right? That's the same guy we saw lose his temper or, get a little too animated down there at the University of Florida. And he's only a year removed from being that college kid. I guess it's no surprise that the body language can be questionable at times. Nice night last night. But, again, man, you mentioned it. It's the big leagues. Go do it again. Because as his manager will tell us later on this afternoon, nobody cares about what you did yesterday. You got to go do it again.
And that same thing applies to, the big 3 offensively. It's been, 7-game stretch now where Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi have obviously been playing some good offense, more like last season. But I need to see it the rest of the homestand, and I need to see it coming out of the All-Star break to really believe that they've turned a corner offensively.
Yeah, and even if you see that, what does it prove to you? It proves to you that they're possibly as good as they were a season ago. And we all know that, that formula is good enough to get them there, the big 3 and a great rotation. But when you get on the biggest of stages, you suddenly realize that your big 3 they're not that big. Your great rotation is very good, but it's not the best. It's not an all-time rotation. I mean, shoot, it was outpitched last year by Garrett Cole and Clark Schmidt and Carlos Rodon. So, you want to continue to. Here's why it's so important for me to continue seeing the big 3 do what they've done over the past week. Is it should allow J.J. Piccolo the freedom to move Seth Lugo prior to the deadline on July 31st. Because right now, if I'm John Sherman, until you can prove to me that trading away Seth Lugo isn't a white flag on the season, I want to take this thing all the way to the deadline. And the only way you can convince me that trading away Seth Lugo isn't a white flag is if you can show me you have someone to take his spot, and you don't right now. You just signed Dallas Keuchel to go along with 45-year-old Rich Hill, who got his brains beat in yesterday. Cole Ragans is still on the shelf, so you're not going to be able to convince me that you have someone to replace him in the rotation. And right now, you still can't convince me that the offense has improved enough to offset the likely regression coming from the rotation. So if you can give me, this weekend against the Mets, by the way, Kodai Senga coming back on Friday, Frankie Montas going on Saturday, Sean Manaea returning coming up on Sunday. It's a formidable trio that you're going to face against the Mets, and they got a pretty good bullpen as well. So if the offense can't continue this going into the break, start off and, bang a little bit down there in Miami, possibly it could open up the idea that you can move Seth Lugo prior to the trade deadline and still tell your fans we have our outside shot at the wild card still.
When you look at what Bobby Witt Jr. has been doing, we talk about it. We're doing the Wittizens stuff. Do you want to be a senior Wittizens? We have some extra buttons.
I'm bald.
We got a wig for you.
We got
It's
wigs.
perfect.
We have 100 wigs planned for Sunday.
Okay, all right. I just know about the barber, and I'm like, well,
Well, we knew that we might run into some issues with hair, so we thought, we'll take precautions.
Yeah, good call. Ballparks are a great place to find a bunch of bald dudes. So, yeah, of course I do. Why wouldn't you want to support Bobby Witt Jr., who this season has still been one of the 5 best baseball players on the planet? And you look at the numbers he's now putting up with runners in scoring positions. He's back to being that monster in the big moments. So, defensively, you look at what he's doing on the base paths. He's just simply the best. And yet, for some reason, batting average gives a rookie with no city affiliation the starting spot in the American League, at least for now. I know he got banged up last night.
Yeah, he got hit by a pitch, left the game in the first inning. And then I saw yesterday, thinking of all-star voting, we haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. Maikel Garcia, of course, one of the big snubs here in 2025 for an all-star appearance. And then I saw Bregman, of course, as expected, not going to play because he's hurt. And the alternate, you thought maybe that was an opportunity for Maikel Garcia. No, it's Junior Caminero, who's a nice player, obviously, in Tampa. But if you look at some of his metrics next to Maikel, and they don't add up.
Yeah, to me, that's a reflection of their team is good and your team is not good. And I think most Royals fans can understand that. If you're going to be 3 games below 500, you can't whine that you're not getting 5 all-star representatives. Now, it's fair to complain about Bobby not being the starter. I think that's a bad reflection on baseball fans as a whole, and not necessarily a feather in our cap here in Kansas City either. But the 2 no-brainers were Bobby and Bubic. They're both going, so I'm good.
Vern, we didn't tell you. I don't know if you've heard. One of the prizes, there could be more, is that you'll get to sit in the crown seats with me and Alex for the game on Sunday if you're the winner of the Bobby Witt Jr. Lookalike contest.
And you guys know how to do it right. I think a lot of people have seen you guys.
Oh, I get my money's worth when I sit down there.
Yeah, and you get to see Cody and Gold off mic. That's a whole other world right there.
Whole different bag.
Cody just starts singing randomly. It's really wild. Actually.
And a lot of cussing. A lot of cussing.
Yes.
A lot more cussing.
I mean, a lot of it comes across on the radio. I mean, you're slipping quite a bit, but off the air, man, it gets colorful.
I get a little more loose with the F-bombs when...
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's when I first fell in love with you, were those days up in spring training.
Yeah, sitting up there in the heat thinking about those things. When you look at I wanted to ask you at least a little bit about Noah Cameron, because I was definitely in the, he got 2, 3, 4 starts. Even when he was having, the Valenzuela run, I'm like, I'm going to need a minute before I make any kind of decisions on a guy who wasn't over-heralded or super hyped coming into his big league career. And I don't even know if the Royals knew what they were getting. What has stood out to me is his ability to bounce back. He's had a couple of rough ones here or there, but continues to put up really good numbers and give the team a chance to win every time he starts. Are you thinking that we're getting this Noah Cameron the rest of the year at this point? I mean, it's kind of hard to assume the other way.
Yeah, I don't see why not. There's nothing about him that reflects a rookie, a 25-year-old with a lack of experience. And it's not as if he's relying on, just here's
the
102.
Cheese. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Mizorowski
stuff. It's a lot. Now that dude's something else. But Bubic, to me, that's what I see with Noah Cameron is a Chris Bubic that wasn't rushed to the big leagues. He's able to hit all 4 quadrants. He has a mixture of pitches. It's a guessing game. So long as his command is on, I don't see why Noah Cameron can't bring that to the ballpark every 5th day when he takes the hill. What's so impressive to me is, prior to his last outing, the Royals had lost 8 of his first 10 starts. 8 of the last 9 starts going into the last one. So the fact that he's able to block out the fact that while driving to the ballpark, he knows, man, my offense might give me 2 runs, maybe 3 if we're lucky. To block all of that out, just go out there and execute against the Dodgers. I mean, he's taken on some pretty – not only is he taking on some pretty big opponents, obviously, up here in the big leagues, he knows the pressure's on him. He knows he's a part of the rotation that is leading this team, that at times is dragging this team to the finish line. And he's able to compartmentalize it all, go out there and get the job done. Something that we're praising the other rookie, Jack Caglione, for just do your job. Just execute the game plan. That's what Cags did last night. That's what Cameron's been doing, and then some, since he first showed up.
Cole Ragans now on the 60-day IL. I think some people immediately see that and say, 100% season is over. That's not how this works. But if the team is not in it in the middle of August, do you think they would just shut him down at that point?
So long as he agrees to it too, right?
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna,
sure.
you're
paid.
You're done. Yeah, he is. He doesn't need to fight for arbitration and get those extra starts, but a couple of starts at the end just to take something into the offseason, just to test your stuff against big leaguers. Are they going to try and stretch him? Let's try to get 3 more outs from him in this penultimate start of the season. No, obviously they'll be smart with him, but if he's back and ready to go, and there's no risk of further injury, you'll still run him out there, especially home games for your fans. Yeah, you no need to shut Cole Ragans down unless you're truly concerned about his 2026.
Keuchel, Rich Hill, you mentioned. Do either of them start a game this year for the Royals in the big league level?
God, I hope not.
But if they trade Lugo and Lorenzen, someone's starting, right?
Yeah. Still, I would prefer it be someone other than those two.
I agree.
Bolin or something.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about that either.
Champlain, I don't care what his numbers are. I'd rather see a 25-year-old that's been in the minors too long. So
100%, yes, yeah. But man, you look at that AAA rotation right now, and good night. It's like a bunch of AI names. I'm like, that's not a real person. I've never heard of that guy. Honestly, outside of Rich Hill, Chandler, Champlain. There's this Orrin Hatch, I think is or was that a
There's
senator?
some guy that looks like his name is Citronella or something. I don't know what it is.
Like the candle?
Sarantola. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that guy. Yeah.
That's a young guy with a big old arm. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's fine. But no, they got like Ron Gant, I think, or maybe that's the old Braves outfielder.
I saw Michael Fulmer.
Yeah, right. The old
Bartolo
rookie of
Colon
the
was
year.
doing an interview the other day. Maybe he's free.
Is Greinke cutting lawns, or what's he doing?
I mean, Edinson Volquez was in okay shape in spring training. Let's see what he's up to.
All right, Vern, we'll be listening tonight, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
There you go, Josh Vern, our Royals insider. He joins us each and every Wednesday, and of course, you hear him before and after each and every Royals game right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Random question.
The random question today brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, you can always hit us up on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, where we live stream the show all 4 hours every single day. Matter of fact, all 3 shows are live streamed all day. So 12 straight hours of content over there, plus exclusive content on YouTube. If you check it out over there, subscribe so you can get it to the top of your page. Question I have for you today is something I kind of mentioned to you the other day, Gold, but I was having a deeper conversation with my wife the other day.
This was not insomnia, 3 a.m.?
No, not insomnia. This was a classic car ride conversation that was taking place. I'm going to give you the setup first so you can think about your decision. A randomizer will give you the 10 most populous cities in this state. I want to know what your dead last pick of state to live in would be. So, you're going to get the 10 most populous states. You're not going to get stuck in some backwoods nonsense in Mississippi. Okay. You will end up in a relatively large, depending on the state, like Montana's 10th biggest city.
Yeah.
Not going to be big.
Uh-huh.
Some, decent sized metropolitan area, depending on the state. I want to know if you were doing a draft of every single state, Hawaii and Alaska included, not just the continental, what would be your dead last choice of state you would choose to live in? I'll just be honest with you, Drew. This is not because your brother lives there, because you lived there once. Florida would be in my bottom 5. It would be in my bottom. There's a bunch of cities.
Really?
Dude, it's hot. It's
but
like
I'm near I might be near
swampy.
the ocean.
You might not be.
Might be near the ocean, though.
Yeah, you might be in Orlando.
Not enough to save portions of like that. But Orlando stinks outside the water.
Well,
so
Orlando's landlocked. Orlando isn't in the.
Oh, yeah.
Orlando's smack dab in the middle of the state. So
terrible.
Yeah.
So, even less interested. Florida would be my bottom 5. I don't know if it'd be my bottom answer, but it'd be down there. Montana and Idaho were strong considerations. I don't know what the hell the 10th largest city in Idaho or Montana, or even the first biggest cities, look like.
Probably
Idaho,
Helena.
Boise, you said is at least
in
okay.
Florida, these are the 10 cities I get if I pick Florida, for not being the worst, but for Jacksonville, Miami,
Pass.
Tampa, Orlando, St. Petersburg,
Pass.
Port St. Lucie, Camp Corral or whatever, or
Camp Coral. You can't even but here's the problem. I can't insure my
Tallahassee,
house.
Tallahassee and Fort Lauderdale.
I can't insure my house. You can't get any insurance. There's just so many things that stink about living in that state. Florida would be pretty low.
I don't think Florida would be dead last. No. It wouldn't be dead last. Dead last? What state would it be? Wow.
Over in the text line, somebody's already mentioned Michigan. We've already got an ant. Why Michigan's such an interesting one. Ohio, they don't want to be landlocked in some random state. Because if you look up the 10 biggest cities in Ohio, what do you think if you ended up getting stuck with 10?
Honestly,
because you probably live your life.
I'll be honest,
Cleveland.
it's South Dakota or North Dakota.
Oh, it's a Dakota.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
It's yeah.
How was it?
Bottom 5. South Dakota, North Dakota have to be in the bottom 5. Sorry, just are. No pro teams. No pro teams either from an enjoyment perspective of sports. No, I'm out.
Yeah, a lot of people there are Vikings fans in the Dakotas.
If at worst you would end up in Jamestown if you ended up in North Kansas or North Dakota.
Been to Jamestown multiple times.
Oh yeah.
What? How was it?
It's fine.
West Fargo.
There's not much to do.
Grand Forks.
If you
Fargo would be the best city you could land
Fargo
in.
would be the
West Fargo. There's a West and an East Fargo and a North. And
According
a South.
to
there's
Wikipedia's
only a
top 10
West
list.
Fargo. It's Fargo and then West Fargo.
Yeah. Okay.
Fargo is the best. Fargo's the best city
I honestly
there.
think
I was in Bismarck.
Quick bottom 5 off the top of my head.
The two biggest ones.
Quick bottom 5 for this would be North Dakota, South Dakota, New Mexico.
New Mexico would be okay on my list. I've been to New Mexico. Dry heat, kind of like Arizona. Got a couple of cool cities.
I think the interstates there, by the way, are
I would prefer New
85 is the speed limit.
I'd prefer New Mexico to Arizona. And I lived in Arizona for 8 weeks in my life at this point. So I would prefer New Mexico to Arizona if I were drafting.
All right.
Vermont would be on the list too.
Ooh, somebody mentioned Vermont too.
In your bottom
it's so
5?
tiny. I could get to so many things. East Coast is tough because even if I don't like where I live, the frequency in which I could visit a different place is definitely on board. What about Maine? How do we feel about? Because you get stuck in the 10th biggest city.
I think Maine can be beautiful though at the right time of year.
Oh, you don't think Vermont could be though?
No.
I think it all fits in the Vermont, New Hampshire.
Maine's further up, man.
Delaware.
I know, but
I think Maine's a better state than Vermont.
I'm surprised that
Florida's in my bottom 5. I think one of those Mississippi, Alabama. I have a hard time distinguishing the difference between them.
For
they
the
all
reasoning,
feel about the same.
All right, so we don't have our headphones on, Drew. You got somebody's got to stop talking. So it's
fine. I got
it's I'm sure very annoying to the listeners at this point in time. Somebody's talking over somebody.
Go ahead, Drew.
For the reasoning that you have Florida, though, you should have Louisiana in there as well in your bottom 5 for the exact. If you're living in Baton Rouge, then you would be as miserable as you think you would be in Orlando.
At least I get some
if not
culture.
More miserable.
At least I get culture and food. I get some etouffee, right? At least that's why it's not below Florida. I'm not saying it's not low on the list. I'm just saying it's not below Florida.
Somebody has Nevada. No, but I get Vegas, so it's an automatic win. And I get Reno. I get the Tahoe area. I get Reno, which is near Tahoe.
The 10th city would probably suck, but that's going to suck in most of the states.
Yeah.
I think Florida, Montana, Alabama. I don't want to deal with Crimson
How have
Tide
you not
fans.
said Alaska?
Oh, Alaska's
Nobody
probably
said
gorgeous.
Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska.
I'll deal with Alaska.
Yeah, the only problem with Alaska is the whole daylight thing.
And the 10th most remote city in Alaska is probably remote.
The daylight thing would be a problem in Alaska.
If I remember right, too, you're going to be living in Fairbanks, Alaska.
Hold on, let me look up the 10th biggest city. You're taking a risk, I'm not saying the 10th. If it's the 10th biggest city, you might not. Alaska might be lower.
I just don't think that because so I watched. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Below Zero or there's something called. There's a TV show called Life Below Zero.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, summer there is like a month. It's freezing cold the rest of the year, and it's miserable. It's plus the daylight thing. I think Alaska would be up there, and it's no disrespect. It's just I don't think I could do it.
I will say the biggest problem with Alaska is if you don't. So it's a randomizer, and if you don't get Anchorage, you are living nowhere. The second most populous city in Alaska has 31,000 people.
What is that, Juneau?
That's Fairbanks, then Juneau, which also has 31,000. Then something called Badger, Alaska, at 19,000. The 10th most populous city is Meadow Lakes with only 9,000 people in it. So you are really, Alaska should probably be lower because you really are risking, if I ended up in Anchorage, I'll live my life, or Juneau, maybe I'll live my life. But man, if you end up in Wasilla.
That's tough. People want you to say Baton Rouge again, Drew.
Baton Rouge. Les Baton Rouge.
Maybe if we end up getting are there any PGA events there?
I'm not going to be speaking Creole I'm not going to be in it. Speaking speaking Cajun like Ed Orgeron.
That is the random question of the day here. on Cody and Gold. All right, coming up next, let's talk more about what's going on at the Big 12 Media Days. And one side that the Big 12 is on that some of these other conferences definitely are not. Plus, maybe some positive news on the schedule front for the Royals. That's coming up here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Man, maybe you've been feeling tired, lacking the motivation, the workout. You have to take breaks when you're mowing the lawn. All these things, weight gain, all of them can be signs of low testosterone. So stop waiting to find out and go find out at Low T Center. They make it easy to get your levels checked. Simple test, on-site lab, and you get the results back right there. It's not your typical doctor's office. They specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy or TRT for each individual patient. I make a point of that because if you've been to a doctor's office where they just treat you all the same, you want to know that they understand your health and your needs, and that's what they're doing at Low T Center. For current patients, Low T is offering a $150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. And at the Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So honestly, get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com, book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of Kansas City is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards a new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old opener and entry door too. It's cash for clunkers, now at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate at overheaddoorkc.com or call 816-221-0072.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Go Yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. Join the millions who have already won billions making plays on Underdog and be next to join one of the leading places to make all your sports selections that you can play in your state. To play, all you have to do is download the app. Choose whether you think a player will go higher or lower than their favorite stats, home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more. Once your entry feels good, you can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. That's right. If you bet $1, you could get up to 1,000 times your money, so you really could turn $1 into $1,000 with your baseball knowledge. Download the Underdog app, sign up using that promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See underdogfantasy.com/web/deposit match-terms. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
I'm Kiara Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEBNOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payout via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji Antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
College days are back on the drive. Listen for KU Day on Tuesday, July 15th, starting at 2 o'clock on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
One o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon producing the show. Take it easy on him, text line. Take it easy.
He was fighting with. He was fighting with.
Take it easy.
You guys both getting more fights with the text line.
We get in arguments on the show. We obviously give Drew a hard time a lot. The text line though, you guys will go back and forth and yeah, I mean some hateful things are being said.
It's a little too personal.
I mean, they can call me. So I don't call anybody any names or anything like that. You guys can call me names. I can take it.
I don't think I would open yourself up to that.
No. I'll go ahead and I'll open it up. You can do whatever you want to. That's fine. But just keep the same energy.
When what?
Keep the same energy regardless. There were a lot of people. Well, Drew, you're making excuses. Well, I think that the same can be said for every fan base, in every situation. And I think you should keep the same energy.
Okay.
It's just because it's the Bengals and me, I guess, that everybody wants to rail on me about it. I can take it. It's okay.
Okay. Look, we're just making sure you're good.
Somebody call me an idiot. That's all. That's all you got.
That's actually that's.
I've been called worse things.
I will say, if you're gonna really try to get under my skin on the text line, the first 10 you're thinking of that you think are really gonna get me, you get further down the list. Get more creative with your insults.
I can always come back with the. I can always come back with the. I was supposed to die when I was a month old. Like my parents were told I wasn't going to live anymore. So, and I'm here, so you can't tell me anything that's going to make me sad. And y'all can go ahead and keep it.
What the hell? What a crazy
keep it coming. Keep it coming, y'all.
I'm just going to talk some Big 12, and then Drew's like, "Well, I was almost a dead baby, but
keep it
coming. Other than that,
keep it coming.
Can't hurt me.
I'm not even supposed to be here." Dang.
Were they wrong, though? Or did you have the
evidently
thing
so.
and you just were a survivor?
No, I had something that there was a significantly high, 90 percentile likelihood that I was going to die. I was nobody in the state of Indiana, I don't think, had this in the year that I was born and survived. Essentially, is how lucky I was.
What is this thing?
It's called infantile periartillery nodosa. If you've ever heard of Kawasaki disease, your skin turns gray. Your body swells up and turns gray. Like my body was as gray as my hoodie, apparently, I guess, according to my parents.
I mean, obviously that's I mean, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But the fact that you
someone put R.I.P. Drew.
The fact the way you just brought it up though, man, was wild. Like, yeah, you guys are being mean to me. You know what? I should be dead. So
you can't hurt me.
Hey, you guys can't
Even
hurt me.
Kawasaki disease couldn't hurt me.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, come on now. You guys can say whatever you want to. I'm gonna open it up. I'm good. I'm taken care of.
Crazy.
I am taken care of.
Yeah,
I went 0 to
100.
0 to yes, 100%.
It felt like it escalated so fast.
People are y'all are escalating on the text line. So you know what? I'll make you feel bad as well as
True.
you can keep it coming.
We're glad you're here. I'm sure Joe Burrow is glad you're a supporter of his too.
I bet you he is. You know that would be. I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad to be a supporter of his.
Somebody says they saw Kawasaki degrees on Grey's Anatomy. Says it's overlooked because it's so uncommon. Is that what Dr. Gray said, or are you just saying that based off learning it?
Wait, Kawasaki? Like the jet skis?
It's yes.
Yes.
It's the infant version of that disease, essentially.
Okay. The ultimate wild card. I shouldn't be here. You can't say anything to me.
Yeah.
I
can't come back
a trend
to me for
online
that.
to say you can't hurt me and then mention something horrible that's happened to you, right?
It's the same thing as like to me. So you guys know, like I stutter every now and then. I can make jokes about myself stuttering, and it's totally fine. If anybody else doesn't, fine. I hope you feel better about yourself. Like I can make jokes about myself, like I stutter, you know. But
should we all say something?
I can
about
make jokes about myself. It's all good.
Should we all say something about our medical history so Drew doesn't have to be alone?
Well,
you've already told us a lot, Cody, about your medical history.
Ironically, no joke. I was in now it's just turning very weird. When I was a baby, I don't know what the disease it wasn't a disease, but they didn't think I was gonna make it here because I have a twin. You guys know this, and I was born 30 plus minutes apart. It's because I wouldn't come out. I lost a bunch of oxygen. I was in NICU for like a week or so, stuff like that. But anyway, just the way you brought it up was unbelievable. That's all. Anyway, let's talk. Unless Cody, do you have one? Do you have a story?
I just had like jaundice, like a normal baby. That's all I got. I don't,
Anyways,
classic stuff.
Let's talk about the Big 12 now. Let's talk about the Big 12.
All these people arguing about the Big 12. I don't even care. Why does everybody get upset? I could be dead right now.
Who cares?
Relax,
Look,
y'all.
I think that there are multiple things that stand out from the Big 12, at least from the Brett Yormark thing. One is that Brett Yormark very clearly is going to try to position himself as, I'm a man about business. We're doing overseas games. People are going to know our properties. They're going to know the Big 12. We're going nationwide with this thing. And the idea that he is personally willing to risk Big 12 teams not getting in the college football playoff. If he has any say about it, they'll end in the 5+11. Those were easily the two biggest things for me. That and like the media poll thing is just kind of funny.
Yes.
I get that they got rid of it. We can talk about it for a minute. But the two biggest ones to me are he is actively fighting for international brand. And I think they've done a pretty good job branding wise since Yormark's come over.
He has done a good job.
And then again, they're willing to risk getting 2 automatic qualifiers to the Big 12 and just say, if we play it out, I think we'll get 2 anyway, which is a risk considering the Big 10 and the SEC run college football.
Yeah, they have got to make sure that they could slow play this as much as possible. Eventually, I still think we're going to head to the Big 10 and the SEC controlling even more than they already do. But you want to delay that as long as possible. And can you beat out the ACC if you're the Big 12? And I agree that 16 teams is the best model, an 5+11 model in particular. But I think in December we had the conversation with the way the college football played out. And I think we were all on the same page. I can't remember. I think maybe Drew and I were aligned on this. I can't remember. But where it's like, hey, the Big 12, they had an opportunity of guaranteeing themselves 2 spots a year or so ago, and they decided not to do that.
If it was 2-2-2-2, I'm in. I hate giving up. I give up 2 automatic qualifiers, but I have to concede the fact that the SEC and the Big Ten get half of the field. Half? Like, come on. They already run it, and it's already too greedy, and they already make all the money. They don't need the 4 spots. You could just earn them. And I guess that's what I kind of like about Yormark in the Big 12. We're not afraid to earn it. We're not afraid to earn our spot. We don't want to just be gifted to. We will earn it. And the SEC and the Big Ten, in my opinion, should feel the same way. It's not going to be hard for you to earn it. You're big dog on the street. It's not a hard, complicated system. But he's doubled down. Like the audio yesterday, he's like, I'm doubling down. I want 5+11. This is the system I want in the Big 12 media days. I think it's good that he's standing behind it, whether he gets it or not.
I think it goes to show you, like, he really believes in the product that he's pushing, where you would suspect that the Big Ten and SEC would want to do the same thing where, we believe we're the best conference and we're going to try to show it to you on the field and not worry about the AQs and all the other things that, come along with it, where it takes some guts for Brett Yormark to, stand there and say, not only did I say it once, but I'm going to say it again. And I want to be able to show you what the Big 12 is and what it can be and how good we actually are in comparison, or as much in comparison to the Big Ten and the SEC.
I'm not saying every single thing he's done has worked, but for the most part, since Brett Yormark has been the commissioner, I actually think he's done a phenomenal job of stabilizing the conference more, especially post-Texas, Oklahoma. I think, the way they've made some changes to be open to new ideas around the Big 12 tournament. I know some of the stuff hasn't come to fruition. They talked about having basketball games in Harlem and stuff like at the.
Yeah, they were trying to do more.
Some of that stuff fell through. I don't know.
It's a lot of there's no bad ideas kind of
thing.
Yeah,
but he definitely is an ideas guy. He's definitely an ideas guy. And what do you have to lose if you're the Big 12? So I like a lot of it. As far as the preseason poll stuff, look, I clearly the talking point out of media days from the coaches and from the conference is that Arizona State being picked last year at media days hurt their cause when it came to the final college football playoff rankings heading into the selection committee or whatever. And maybe there's some truth to that. I don't think that was why Arizona State was ranked where they were at. So they got rid of the poll. They're not doing it. There'll still be an AP Top 25 poll, but there's not a preseason coaches and media poll, which how I feel about the polling in general with this stuff. So I have no issue with it. I'm kind of glad. I think it's hilarious that they got rid of it. I just think Chris Kleiman had said this yesterday. Brett Yormark said it. Literally every coach who's been at the podium has said, yeah, we're glad we got rid of these polls. It really hurt BYU and Arizona State last year. That's clearly they really.
Did the committee tell them that?
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
What I'm trying to figure out is, did the committee, because they're like, well, and we know this, in the history of college football, starting lower in the rankings makes it so much harder, especially when it was just 4 teams, to crawl your way back in. People don't buy it as much. They don't buy into you as much and all those other things. Do people care about that when it comes to preseason media polls for a conference?
I think so, because it's a perception. College football is very
for that, and I don't know anything about college football, or I know little.
Yeah, but I think the whole sport itself is, for better or for worse sometimes, it is a perception thing. Because even the committee, who's most deserving of being in that 12th spot? Well, we think it's this, but again, that's I guess a hypothetical scenario. But hey, what if Clemson doesn't beat SMU, Alabama's in the playoff, all of a sudden, do things go a little bit differently? I think it's all perception with college football, which makes it hard to actually judge and put in the quote-unquote right teams at times, where it seems like if the Big 12 approach, if they go to 5+11, and they say, you know what, the 11 teams, we want to have it this way, and you're not going to know the way that our media feels about the Big 12, then maybe if Arizona State goes out and goes 10-3 like they did, they actually are ranked a little bit higher because they're in a power conference than, I don't know, somebody else who's actually at 12 or 13.
The polling is silly because during the season, a lot of the coaches' polls, Cody, you know this, Drew, you know this, maybe not every listener knows it, but their SIDs a lot of times vote for them essentially. It's not
they don't
always
want to waste their time voting.
You think Nick Saban was sitting down and filling out
probably
a poll every week? No. I doubt. I doubt.
It's also just incredibly biased, no matter what you do. When you are a member of the University of Alabama voting on a poll, something tells me Alabama will be voting on a poll. Something tells me,
and they respect their peers a little bit more.
Look, I've said I respect the AP poll more than any of the others. I know Gold has said it doesn't really matter now that we have the college football poll. The only reason I respect it is it borderline directly mirrors it. So if it does nothing else than just tell you where you are right now, it tells you where you are as of this moment. But it's the preseason polls. I don't know if it actually hurt them, because I still think the argument is but now you kill the Cinderella. You kill the look at Arizona State. Bunch of losers is what everyone thought they were.
Yeah,
but
or Indiana.
No. Because all year Arizona State got to pump their chest and say, you didn't believe in us. You didn't believe in us, and we proved you all wrong. And people and teams thrive on that sometimes. They thrive on the you don't believe in us. We're going to prove you all wrong part of it.
They can still do that if they're not ranked at all, or ESPN will still come out with, I'm sure, their version of their Big 12 picks, or the ESPN's probably going to create their own poll now or something for just the Big 12 or something like that. But I get what you're saying. I do think part of the narrative we heard over and over right around the end of the season with Arizona State was, man, can you believe this? They were picked to finish last. Like, it did become a talking point. I thought actually in a positive way. I could see how nationally people were like, well, the Big 12 must suck if the team that everybody thought was going to finish last won it, and that's probably what they think happened.
Yeah, and there have been times where even like let's say I don't know, pick a random team, Cincinnati in the Big 12 or KU from last year, whatever the case is. KU goes out and they beat somebody, and they beat let's say in this hypothetical world, Arizona State is 9th in the country. I think what, based on previous things would go, is you'd look at the preseason poll, say, KU's not supposed to be good. Arizona State, if they lost to KU, then Arizona State must not be as good as we think. Or if you don't have the preseason poll, all of a sudden, instead of Arizona State just not being any good, maybe KU actually is as good as that team is. So there's more respect for both teams as opposed to one team losing and them going from 9th to 24th in the poll. And then KU's not even ranked inside the top 25, or they're 23rd, and then your teams are all lower and not considered to be as good as other teams in other conferences.
Yeah, that's what that's definitely what the Big 12 thinks happened.
It makes you watch the games more, I think, and actually pay attention to the games more than just a number next to the name,
What is SEC? Is that next week, their media days?
Yes.
Down in, is it Destin? That was where they had meetings. I don't know if they do there.
That's where the meetings are. I think theirs is it in, it can't be in Texas too, is it?
SEC?
Nashville?
I think it's in Nashville.
I mean, it's a good spot to have it.
Weren't they in Mobile forever?
Yeah, they did their meetings in Destin, which, I mean, I just go right back to Destin.
They were in Birmingham. For a long time. I think they might have moved with the expansion and stuff. They might be in Nashville now.
They did that state draft like us and then decided.
Well, let me see. I can
Let's send Drew to SEC Media Days.
He'd be in heaven.
Oh, we'd never hear from him again. I feel like he would just stay. He would not answer our texts or calls. He'd just be in heaven. Yeah.
SEC Media Days are in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Oh, wait, they're having media days the same week as the All-Star game in the same city?
14th through the 17th.
Yeah, tough hotel.
I mean, I understand it's a big city. It's not like this is
I can't have two things.
Yes, but it is interesting. They have
a lot of media to all drag down
All-Star
to one
week,
event.
and I mean, shoot, if you were covering the SEC Media Days, though, you'd just be like, just
at the Omni Atlanta Hotel at Centennial Park.
Yep.
They've previously been to Dallas, Nashville, and Atlanta since moving from Birmingham.
Okay.
So they've stuck in the South, just moving.
Well, that makes sense. They are the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, but they have teams in California, so they're not so southeastern that they can't, just have teams anywhere.
You're saying they should take a field trip to Norman, Oklahoma, or to Oklahoma City to have the SEC Media Days one day because they got Oklahoma.
I think all media days should be in Kansas City. Central Point, because none of these conferences mean anything about where they're located. All media days moving forward for every conference.
Let's go to the epicenter of
the epicenter of media days.
Text line wants to know which California school is in the SEC, Cody.
There's not one. I just was joking about where the conference realignment is.
They will.
I knew that.
Eventually, they might. Who knows?
Give it time.
Who knows? I mean, Oregon obviously is in the Big Ten, so you never know.
Give it time.
And Cal's in the ACC, right? Or am I wrong on that one?
Cal and Stanford are in the ACC.
Yeah.
And then Big 12
out west. Oregon, Washington State, and Washington State's obviously conference-less, but.
The Big 12 at least makes more sense than the ACC and the Big 10 do, but the Big 12 is starting to stretch its legs to Florida, and they already got West Virginia in there too. So,
it's so messed up now. You don't know where just like the directional part of the conferences is always funny. Like Big East, and it's like half of the teams aren't East, right?
Yeah, the Atlantic Coast Conference has two teams
like
on
the
the
numbers
Pacific
were accurate
Coast.
for a while either. I mean,
no,
that's the thing. It's like the Big 12 or the Big 10, and obviously the Big 10 has way more than 10 teams.
Someone says
it has 20. It has doubled that amount.
Yeah.
Someone says Media Day should be at the new bowling alley in Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, the bowling. They just for the weekend. This Saturday you can still make it.
Oh, so if you get down there ahead of the All-Star game or
that's in Pittsburgh though.
Ah, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah, if the nude bowling was in Atlanta the same week, then my goodness,
everything's going on in Atlanta.
Think of all the people who could have got.
Have you guys been to Atlanta before?
Yes.
Oh, you both have. Wow.
Just the once. Or twice.
I've been two different times.
Never been. That's one of the. I've been to most of the major cities in the U.S., but that's I've not been to Atlanta. I don't know why. I just haven't. That's just not a city. I want to go to the Coca-Cola factory and stuff and all that.
The traffic is
or World of Cola or whatever it is.
Yeah, the traffic. We actually have been when we were the first time that I went to Atlanta. We went to the Coca-Cola the museum. The traffic is as advertised.
I'm surprised you haven't gone for the College Football Hall of Fame by now.
Crazy enough, I've been since they made the College Football Hall of Fame, but we didn't go to the College Football Hall of Fame.
Crazy.
Probably because my wife didn't really want to go. That also played a factor into it.
Fair enough.
In my experience in driving in Atlanta, it's more about speed of traffic is really important there. If everyone's going 95, you better be going 95.
That's how Dallas is sometimes, man.
Or you're going to get run off the road.
That's how
Drive
Dallas
the speed
was.
that everyone's driving.
Yeah, those highways in the Dallas Metroplex, same thing. If the speed limit is 70 and you're going 70, you feel like everybody is flying by you.
Yeah, you feel like you're causing traffic problems.
There's a few cities like Miami, Dallas, and
Chicago can be like that in certain.
Miami and
on the Beltline. and
Houston at times too. Like any of those big cities, I feel like.
Fun times over at the Big 12 Media Days.
Someone says Media Days Drew would have them over at Twin Peaks. So that'd be fantastic.
Careful now.
If we could get Drew out there, I bet he'd have a really good time. I think he'd have a really good time. Especially
the
because of
Media
his
Days?
near-death experience 29 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't even be here.
Hey, me doing this show is honestly, I like being here. Honestly,
How many times do you
having a
think? How many times, honestly, do you think you were like, let's say, a 5% chance of death in your life? I'm going to guess that mine's like 5.
Say that again.
5% chance of death. How many times? in
5
your
times?
life?
You think you've had that many
Oh,
times?
yeah.
5% chance.
One
of
time,
death?
somebody threw an entire aspen tree down a hill in which I was standing at the bottom of it, and it whizzed past my hair. It for sure would have killed me.
there's been multiple. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, just the one where I was robbed at gunpoint would be one of those.
That's got to be 5%. There's got to be a 5% chance.
I mean, I think that's one.
I slipped on top of a mountain once, so that's probably on the list.
Oh my! That's something that makes my
head got
stomach
split
churn.
open by a rock. We lived next door to a hospital, and I lost quite a bit of blood. I can't imagine that if we lived 10 minutes from a hospital, I'm probably not cooked.
Okay.
So I mean,
A rock
at
on your-
least 5. I have a huge scar in the middle.
Survival days with Cody Tapp is what I mean. Jeez.
We weren't watching. No, look, there were a lot of other like this is a family that we created our own zip lines with rusty metal chains in the tops of old bikes. There's probably plenty of times I had a chance to die, but I'm saying, better than 5%. The 1% chance of deaths, that's happened a couple.
You've lived quite a life then, Cody. I think at this rate.
Man,
you've
just did stuff. I don't know. Just lived our lives as kids and risked it all. Gold, you've got at least that one, plus a few others.
Yeah, that one. I mean,
You just mentioned as a baby, so that's 2.
Yeah,
I bet you get to 5 if you really thought about the times in which you were a closer call than you thought. The time that so here's another one, Drew. When I was driving to Colorado and I was going 80, 85 miles an hour, and I drove between 2 deer going that speed without a seatbelt on, and one blew off the side mirror and the other one grazed the right side of the car. That's got to be 5% from death.
With the windows rolled down?
No, I wasn't wearing a seatbelt because it was the early 2000s and I didn't fear it, I guess, the proper way.
No.
I wear my seatbelt 100% of the time now, like a proper adult, but...
And he's cruise control on 30-mile-per-hour side streets. So,
you know what? My brushes with death have really lowered in my adulthood. Pretty much age 25 to 30 on. I've really decreased that number. I've been actively trying to stay alive, apparently, during that stretch. Again, if I kept thinking about it, I imagine I might have a lot more than 5. Who knew?
text line: Drew smokes all of you. He had like a 95% chance of death.
According to what the doctor said, yeah.
I mean, it looks like, of course I Googled Kawasaki disease right after that immediately. It sounds like it's a low,
It looks pretty scary.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't know because I was like a month old, so I had.
I was going to say, you heard this obviously from your parents.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably scary for them. Wasn't scary for you, I guess, at all.
You don't remember anything that was going on.
Man, who knows?
Someone says, got de-pantsed in middle school, about died of embarrassment, if that counts.
De-pantsed? That's tough.
Well, some people just bullying you and just.
Man, that's.
Oh, wow, this is a heck of a story. Someone says they were in a truck that flipped 8 times, landed upside down, going 50 on a dirt road. Don't know how I'm alive.
Oh, my goodness.
8 times? This should have been the random question of the day. I didn't think about it. How many times in your life
Do you think you were actually near
have
death?
you had a brush with death?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't know we were going to have that comment from Drew. So I did.
Every once in a while, it just comes out of nowhere. Like we learned that Drew can beatbox. We learned that Drew almost died. We learned we just don't know what to expect sometimes. We're still peeling back layers of the onion, I feel like, on Drew here.
Yeah, there's still things to learn, you know?
All right, up next, we will get to what's trending. We'll talk about what's going on with a football team in D.C., and could it be the start of something else? That's coming up.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years, and they know how to get your cooling system ready to handle the scorching hot summer weather. Frankly, we've already had this very hot weather in Kansas City. You want to stay cool and comfortable this summer? Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830. That's 816-265-2830 to schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
At KCUC, you see the best in KC. As the region's premier urology and oncology center, KCUC stands out for 3 reasons. 1, experience. With 50-plus providers, you're seen faster when you need it. 2, convenience. 25-plus offices means care close to home to make each visit easy. 3, technology. We offer the most advanced treatments available. You deserve the best. Why go anywhere else? Trust Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It's the Nissan 4th of July sale, and 0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 60 months on brand new Rogue, Muranos, and Pathfinders. Or lock in 1.9% for 72 months, even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Need power? Get up to $6,000 in total rebates on new Frontiers. These are the hottest deals of the summer, but hurry, they won't last long. Visit ReiselmanNissan.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Missouri sports fans, I got great news for you. Underdog is now available to play in your state, and you can go yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. As we get ready to roll into the 4th of July holiday, the baseball action is heating up, and Underdog is a leading place to make all of your sports selections. To play, all you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like home runs, total bases, and so much more. And once that entry feels good, you can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Maybe it's time for Vinny Pasquantino to start heating up, and you love the over on his total bases this weekend. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit with promo code BOB. Must be 18 and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See UnderdogFantasy.com/web/deposit-match-terms. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
When you think home insurance, you think boring and complex, right? Wrong. Allstate is now changing the game with our new and improved home insurance. And it all starts with a simplified shopping experience. Our latest online quoting tool gives you confidence in not only knowing you have the right protection, but our lowest price too. So check Allstate first. For home insurance that's better than ever, you're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings and prices vary. Coverage subject to terms, qualifications, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories and the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the K or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals, of course, last night win in walk-off fashion. Chance to sweep the Pirates this evening. Chris Bubich on the bump.
I did just see. I just showed you a new card from Topps. They didn't say when they were going to do it. They had Bobby Wood Jr. and Jack Caglione writing little notes to each other.
Pretty cool concept.
Back and forth. Very fun. Very fun.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be next year or what, but yeah, the card stuff, man. More and more I think it's kind of cool. More and more listeners are saying, I haven't been involved in cards in a while, but I just got back in, been listening to the show. They've heard you and I talk about it. They've heard Dusty talk about it. We had a listener on Monday. So Saturday he messaged me and said, hey, I just pulled this crazy card. And it was one of the top prospects, Jesus Made for the Brewers. He's a top prospect, and it's one of the prospects you want to get, right? He pulled the 101. He bought it at a Walmart, like the retail blaster, a blaster box. For those that don't know, like there's a retail box and then hobby. Hobby's more, but it guarantees you an autograph. The blasters don't guarantee you anything, and usually they're not as good of a product. This listener pulled a 101 Jesus Made. He came by the station to pick up something so he can ship it off. He sold it. I don't know if he wants to share his business. It's not his name, but he sold it for a couple grand. So
not bad.
But yeah, point being, more and more people, man, more and more listeners are getting involved in it.
Yeah, it just depends on it. It's like anything else, the little bit of stuff. I just thought that's a really cool concept. Next up on What's Trending, Chet Holmgren gets a rookie max contract, 5-year, $250 million for the young Thunder star, emerging star. That means they've handed out almost $600 million, between $550 and $600, I think, between him and SGA in just the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, Thunder obviously positioned. They'll be the favorite, and not just because they won the championship. They've just got the best roster still again, and now are locking up another one of their young stars in Chet Holmgren.
Some news in the NFL today. Tristan Wirfs, one of the best left tackles in the NFL, going to miss the start of the season, according to Adam Schefter. He had a knee procedure to have his knee scoped, cleaned out, will likely start the season on the PUP list. Big news for a Bucs team that's the favorite to win the NFC South. We were talking about Baker Mayfield, the other day, and he put up huge numbers. Now they have a new OC. We'll see what kind of impact this has on Tampa. I know it doesn't directly impact the Chiefs, but that's big news anytime a team that won the division the last 3 years, they're one of their top 5 best players on the team, I would argue, is not going to be available to start the season.
It's a huge deal for them who won 3 straight. When you say, hey, 3 straight divisions is a big deal, Gold. How do you keep it from being 4 straight in a division that's kind of weak? Then you lose your starting left tackle. Next up on what's trending, Major League Baseball to use automatic balls and strikes in the All-Star game next week in Atlanta. Obviously, they have not decided on whether or not they'll use it in the majors next year, but it could be as early as next year. They'll give it a test for the major leaguers in the All-Star game next Tuesday.
Hey, I'm all about it. I can't wait for next year.
If you've ever seen it in a minor league game, it's incredible. And they tap their helmet, they look at it for 5 seconds like the tennis eagle eye, and then they just make the call. It's a ball or a strike. It's so easy.
That's the thing, is it doesn't take up much time. Like, for those of you worried, no, it does not slow it down. It's a 5-second thing, and it's cool. It pulls up the K zone, as you said on the video board. It's awesome. That is what's trending. Here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. 913-586-7965, the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line. If you're just joining us for the first time today, Sunday, we've got our first event for the Wittizens. We are doing the Bobby Wood Jr. Lookalike Contest. We announced today we have confirmed at least one of the big prizes. The winner of the Lookalike Contest is going to sit with Cody and I in the Crown Club seats on Sunday. You and a guest will sit Crown Club. For those who've never sat there, all right?
It's sweet.
It's an unreal experience. All you can eat food and drink. Great seats. We're going to be on. We were told the seats are going to have some on the video board /TV as well when we're rocking the Bobby Wood Jr. gear. And I've had a lot of people text in. You've seen them. Hey, I got a wedding coming up. I can't get my hair cut or whatever. That's all right. If let's say you're bald, all right? You can still do this, all right?
You got 100 wigs.
Maybe you're bald, but you got the stash and the goatee going. We have wigs. You can still win this thing, all right? You can still win it. But if you want, we were encouraging people. We got barbers out there. Go ahead and get
somebody said, can I be skinny Bobby Wood Jr.? Can I be fat Bobby Wood Jr.?
For sure.
We like a variety in here. We're open to all Bobby Wood Jr.'s, kids, adults, whatever. We're hoping to get a good crowd out there for our Bobby Wood Jr. Lookalike Contest. And yeah, the pricing shall reflect that. Alex and I know how to live it up. We can show you the ropes down there. Remember, we went for the one game when Vinny Pasquantino lost his Jets bet to us.
Yeah.
We got a chance to go. It's sweet.
Yeah, someone asked.
The ones right behind home plate.
Yeah, someone said, are those the dugout seats or the ones right behind home plate? Yeah, they are the Crown Club. They are like the first 4 rows of seating at the K behind home plate.
Like if you yelled something at a Mets player, they'd hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, like they'd really hear you.
So that's a heck of a prize. We're excited to announce that today as part of the kickoff of the Wittizens to support Bobby Wood Jr. And we hope to see you guys Sunday. It starts at 10:30 outside Gate B, as in Bobby. We'll be out there, be hanging out. There's a chance we'll have somebody stop by, working on some details on that. We'll see, all right? But the prizes, we now know at least we got some Crown Club tickets.
I just want to see if Bobby will help us get it down to like 10, does he mind popping by for a minute to give us a quick opinion on what he thinks about this? Because it's a lot of pressure on us, Gold, to help choose the winner of the Bobby Wood Jr. Lookalike Contest, the first Wittizen event. I don't want to screw this up. And those, again, you don't remember. We got a little pin that says Bobby Wood Jr. Fan Club. That's what the Wittizens are. Mm-hmm. And officially sanctioned, which this show has done so many unsanctioned things. It's good to be on the right side of the law,
above board. It's
officially
nice.
Sanctioned Bobby Witt Jr. Fan Club, the Wittizens. That's why they're letting us do the barbers and the lookalike contest on site right there by Gate B. B for Bobby.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Something else that was cool today I saw on social media. The Washington Commanders announced they're bringing back what they're calling their Super Bowl era jerseys. Now, it's only going to be for 3 games. I think they should do it for more than 3, but you guys know, you grew up watching maybe the Washington Redskins at the time, and those uniforms, right? The white jerseys, but you kind of got the stripes, that burgundy and gold color, the classic Washington football team jerseys, right? From when they were the Redskins. They're bringing them back, and I think there's a couple things with this. Number one, they just look sick, okay? And Commanders fans now, like they would go back to the old name and everything in a heartbeat. They would. This team has new ownership. They've been winning games. They have a franchise quarterback. They're trying to get a stadium and move back to the old RFK site in D.C. and move the team truly back to the nation's capital because they've been playing in Maryland, right? So they're that whole area.
It's also
DMV,
tight,
the DMV or whatever they call it. So. But they want to go back to D.C., and this is kind of going back to their D.C. roots as well.
That's why they're tagged up the old D.C.
You think something bigger maybe is at play? I think it's mainly about the stadium and also trying to appease fans that are still upset that they switched from the Redskins.
I think they want it all back. And I think that Josh Harris is doing what I would call a soft launch to find out if people would stomach it. That's what I genuinely think is happening. It doesn't mean I am guaranteeing you they're going to switch back to the old name. What I'm telling you is I think that this is the soft launch to see if they could. Because I think what they truly want is the old branding, the old logo in D.C., because he understands, Josh Harris does, that at their height of popularity, that's everything that they were. Hell, they want the people in hog masks in the front row, too. They want it all back because they understand now is their best time to capitalize, a lot like what we've talked about with Patrick Mahomes. You have a potential superstar quarterback. At the very least, it appears you've got your franchise quarterback with a chance of it being greater than that, and they want a soft launch whether or not people could stomach it. I had said, and I kind of stand by this, they got a better chance now than when they changed the name. Because I think if you look at where just society is, I think that there seems to be a greater chance of getting it by people than the time before. And look, I don't know whether or not that's going to actually take place or they'll do it. I do think it's a soft launch. I think they want to know if they could go back. And I think their fans would support it. The question is,
fans would 100%
how bad
support
would you get killed nationally for going back to a name that by changing it, I think you admitted it was wrong or you admitted that it was not in good taste or whatever it was. You changed it. Now you're going to tell me it was fine all along? That's rich.
So I still think it's unlikely they would fully go back to the Redskins name. I will agree with you that as we sit in 2025, the climate for that is potentially softer than what it was when they made the switch and the noise around all of it. But you already went through the PR mess of the switch, so are you wanting to go back through that? And from a national level, as you said, I agree. I mean, fan-wise, it's not even a question. Their fans would go back to it in a second. They're still ticked off that they switched. Winning cures all. Like if you told me the Commanders went out and won a Super Bowl this year, then they wouldn't switch. Like I feel very confident saying that. Like their success is all tied back to when they were the Washington Redskins. So if Jayden Daniels took the Commanders to a Super Bowl, and he nearly did this year, nearly did this past year, NFC title game appearance, rookie year. If they did that, then I think fans would be more accepting. Like if they want a ring with the Commanders uniforms on, I don't think
then
fans.
How are you going to fight the name?
Fans wouldn't care, right? Yeah. It's interesting. I love the look of the unis. I mean, they're going to do it for 3 games. I think it is not the Chiefs.
3 games.
They're not.
It's a soft launch to see if they can just go fully back. The throwback uniforms are better.
Oh, they're sick. The Super Bowl era threads is their official name for it. I guess is now part of their uniform rotation for Washington, and they play the Chiefs this year. They will not be wearing these uniforms against the Chiefs. That'd be fun, but they will be at Arrowhead
again. That would be a bad way to do a soft
I told you it's the game on the schedule. Because we've seen the Chiefs play divisional opponents. We see them play the Bills. This is the game I'm most excited for. And maybe by the time we get to October, the Commanders won't be good. I don't know, right? But I want to see Daniels versus Mahomes, Monday Night Football game at Arrowhead. That's the game I'm most looking forward to on the entire schedule.
You know what? Maybe. It's Sunday Night Football versus Seattle, Sunday Night Football versus Denver, and Christmas Day, as you mentioned, versus Dallas are the 3 games they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there. Because largely, with Jayden Daniels, it's always the same thing in the league. I hope he can repeat it because it makes it far more interesting. And I think I'm about ready for someone in the NFC to take hold of stuff. All the best quarterback. Look, we got in our little not tiff. We all were arguing back and forth of our 1 through 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. We have the same 4. Mine are Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, then Burrow. Gold's are Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, then Jackson. We know Drew's is, I'm assuming Mahomes first, Burrow, then I'm assuming Jackson, then Allen. We know that we have a different order, but notice the theme there. I've mentioned 4 AFC teams no matter what. So
where do you have Jayden Daniels at? I guess now you bring it up.
10, 12 probably. He doesn't deserve to be in the top 10 unless he can repeat it. Because otherwise C.J. Stroud.
But C.J. Stroud people put in the top 10 after his rookie year.
I didn't.
And Jayden Daniels had a better year. I would put Daniels 9 or 10. He'd be right there at the fringe of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I would think he would be 10 to 12 probably. Like just outside the top 10 is probably how I would view it. And that's only because I'm probably giving the benefit of the doubt to a guy I saw have good seasons, but have done it
for sure. I just think watching, and I think you would agree, like watching Jaden Daniels. We've like CJ Stroud. I still think is gonna be fine in his career and everything. Watching Jaden Daniels, I just feel like in every moment, man, he has it. Like he just has it. He's one of those really special quarters. I think the team might regress this year, though. Like I think the Commanders, and therefore I guess he would regress a little bit this year. The chance of him having the exact same type of season again is probably not all that realistic. They had a bunch of veterans last year that they signed to one-year deals, and then they had to go do it all again this year. Like, I think the Commanders will probably regress slightly. I think they're a playoff team, but I think they will regress. I don't think they'll be the number one seed and take another leap forward or anything like that. They still have to deal with Philadelphia in their own division. I actually think I'm higher somehow on the Cowboys than most. Not that I think they're going to win 12 games. Yeah, I think.
But that's the thing. I'd put Dak ahead of Jaden Daniels because
that's
of longevity.
As would I.
And Herbert probably.
People would think we're crazy for saying that, I think, because people love to hate on Dak, but I'm with you. I think Dak Prescott gets hated on more than I think Dak still is easily a top 10 quarterback in this league, and I know it's easy to hate on him, but I really believe that. And maybe before the start of the season, we'll do our updated I remember I had the spreadsheet from last July. And it was funny.
The QB rankings
and it was funny to look back mid-season and like how wrong we were on some of them, or I was at least. But we'll do that again maybe when we get up to training camp and stuff. Because last year I was trying to go find it.
I don't think any of us had Goff up there. I would say
no, I didn't.
No, and I still wouldn't. I mean, again, he's in that 10 to 15 range where he rightfully deserves to be. I'd have Herbert in the top 10, and I know he hasn't won anything, but I'd still put him in there. He's just like, he's Trevor Lawrence, but he puts up stats.
This was last June.
Doesn't win games, but he puts up stats.
Yeah, because last June, this was my top 10 last June. And obviously, there's some I would love to change now. One was Mahomes last June. Allen was 2. Burrow was 3. Lamar was 4. Dak was 5. Stroud was 6. Stafford 7. Hurts 8. Herbert 9. Rodgers 10. All right, there's two quick changes I would make. Stroud would not be in the top 10 anymore. Stafford I would leave there. Dak I would move from 5 to 9 or 10. Hurts, I feel good about him sitting at 8. Herbert and Rodgers would not be 9 and 10. Goff would move all the way up to inside the top 10.
Herbert would still be in the top 10 for me.
Yeah.
I don't think your list is all that bad.
You would have Rodgers, like what, 15?
Oh, you just no. I mean 25. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You'd have him.
My biggest shift would be I would take Stroud. I would take Stroud out of the top 10, and I would move Dak down 4 spots. I would move Stafford and Hurts up and add Daniels into the top 10.
Yeah,
we'll do this again when we get.
Would you put Baker in the top 10?
Fringe. 11 or 12.
Same range I'm putting Goff, right? Congratulations on being a very good starting NFL quarterback.
But Goff is
You're
top.
going to be amongst
Goff,
the others.
Goff, based on what he just did, Goff would have to be in your top 10. I mean,
he's done it more than 1 year
yeah,
too. This is
Goff
like the
has
second
to be
year.
top 10.
Because I think last year, Cody, going into the season, what you're saying about you've done it for 1 season, I think that works.
And there's a difference between, and this is always the hang up, and we can do these conversations as training camp starts here in a couple of weeks. Or less than a couple of weeks, like a week and a half. But I always have to put not a caveat, but like a disclaimer. Top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Not which quarterbacks I would draft if I was starting a franchise.
Yeah,
because if I was starting a franchise, Jaden Daniels is top 5.
Yeah,
probably.
Somebody says Dak isn't even a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. Okay, come on. See, that's what I mean by hating. Stop. What are we doing here? Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, I'm not saying he's the number 1 quarterback. Well, name me 5 quarterbacks in the NFC that are better. So,
I think there's an argument potentially for him to be at 5.
Sure, but that's in the top 5.
Yeah, sure.
Stafford and Goff, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Dak Prescott are the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC.
NFC's not as good a quarterback as you think, Texter.
But it's not Kirk Cousins.
Baker's solid, but he's not there.
Drew's going to tell me Jordan Love.
No, I think I'm higher on Jordan Love than most.
I think Kyler Murray.
I would take Dak over Jordan Love right now. Based on what we saw last season from Jordan Love, I would take Dak over him.
And Dak got hurt in week 9. And Dak got hurt in week 9. I get it.
And he was having a bad year before that.
But the year before, he was an MVP candidate. So we'll see. My stock watch on Dak is still pretty high. Still.
You and I both maybe are higher on Dak Prescott than everyone else.
He's easy to hate on because he's on the Cowboys.
I think Dak's definitely top 10.
I think he's firmly in that
he's 9
6
or
to
10.
10 category.
I think he's more 9 or 10.
Some of you are texting in AFC quarterbacks. Stroud is not in the NFC, but I hear you. We're talking about somebody said Dak wasn't a top 5 NFC quarterback, and that's why we're not mentioning AFC. quarterbacks right now.
No, cracking the top 5 in AFC quarterback, good luck.
Yeah,
you have to get through the 4 guys we just mentioned
said,
just to be 5th.
This person said Purdy's better than Dak. I don't think
stop.
so. No, he's
Guys,
not. Jordan Love, maybe. I can understand the Jordan Love one, but Brock Purdy, I don't think so.
I will allow for a certain variance of opinions, okay? There's like a level in which if you want to come on this show and you want to be like, I want to make a strong argument for why Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, I will allow for a little regular discourse, I would say. But if you're going to come on this and you're just going to be like Brock Purdy, like we're not seeing the
if
same
Brock Purdy's
things.
better than him, then Baker Mayfield is better than him as well. In your mind, I would assume.
I think he's like the
for
11th best quarterback in the NFC.
I'd assume from the
Which
8-1-6,
means they think
would
Dak
take
is like
Baker's
17th in the NFL, which is nuts.
Would you take Bo Nix 8-1-6 over Dak? I think you can make it
a fool
to
do that.
Because Bo Nix and Purdy, would you consider them in the same ish ilk kind of?
I would rather have Brock
production-wise?
Purdy, I think, but close. Yeah, I would rather. I personally would
Purdy
rather
or
have
Nix?
Purdy. Yeah, over Nix. I would personally. Not with Purdy's contract.
I
now,
think it's
but,
more in the conversation.
Really torn by my love of Kyle Shanahan and my belief in his ability to make people better versus just raw talent.
Yeah.
I always try to envision it as like if Andy Reid was the coach, which of the 2 quarterbacks would I choose? I'd probably be Purdy by a hair. This is why it's fun.
It would
Maybe
be
we'll rank
tight.
all 32 this year. You know, every starting quarterback. Who's going to be last?
Yeah, we'll do this
Who's
during
32?
camp.
Who's 32? Just off of quick hand. What do we think? Who's going to be dead last? On your
Well,
list?
Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson could be there. Tyler Shuck. Yeah, Tyler Shuck.
Tyler Shuck.
I mean,
Yeah,
it just has to be.
that's the answer.
Sorry, Tyler. Bad news for you.
It just has to be. He has a chance to prove people wrong, but it
right.
has to be.
Without even thinking about it, it kind of has to be whoever starts for the New Orleans Saints, doesn't it?
I mean, how about the Brown situation? I mean, you're taking.
Dude, come on. I got to
I
take.
mean, but if it's Flacco, Flacco's not 32.
Okay.
I'd put him at like 29, 28.
The Browns
they
quarterback
got
room as a
numbers
whole.
at
Where are you
least.
putting-
They
Right.
got chances.
Right.
The numbers that the Saints have are
I mean, where's Russell Wilson? 25?
pretty far down there.
Would you rather have Russell Wilson? I mean, I guess the Steelers would rather have Aaron Rodgers in this case.
I love the
But you're
Cowboys.
right.
I love Cowboy fans. Someone says, you guys are completely drunk. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. Believe me, Dak is a joke. I've seen wet the bed like no other.
At least he gets a chance to
Oh,
wet the
my
bed. Some of these
goodness.
quarterbacks don't even get to the moment to do that. And also, every Dallas Cowboys quarterback has wet the bed because they've made an
Your
NFC
ownership
title
and general
game.
manager sucks.
Yeah, that's your problem.
And waits until the day before the season to sign someone we all know they wanted to sign anyway. And they're doing it again for a third straight offseason, this time with Micah Parsons. And they're going to pay him more money when we all know they want to get a deal done anyway. They've done it with CeeDee Lamb. They did it with Dak. And they're going to do it with Micah Parsons. Their franchise stinks from a management perspective.
They have to overcome
like-
senility.
Do you like how we said y'all instead of y'all? YALL, it was YAW.
Dude,
Y'all.
Dak Prescott 2 years ago had 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, which
That
led
was
the
the
league,
MVP candidate
and only
season.
9 interceptions.
I mean,
He had 37 the 2 years before that.
I mean.
Idiot things can turn into good decisions.
Hey, if Brian Schottenheimer leads that team to a division title and
Coach of the year.
You have got to be smoking something over there.
What year did Joe Burrow come into the league?
2020.
I'm just trying to think. Like, I bet that Dak Prescott's numbers are closer to Joe Burrow's in the counting stats than you think.
I think
I bet
Dak
they're closer than you think.
I bet.
Smiles and glory holes.
And this isn't even meant to be a knock on Burrow, who I've already stated I think is the 4th best quarterback in the NFL.
Dak also, in fairness, he has CeeDee Lamb, but they have been through the ringer of number 2 and number 3 wide receivers.
There you go. And Dak Prescott's had injuries too, so it's actually a good comp. Since the year 2020, Dak Prescott has played in 58 NFL games. He has thrown for 15,000 yards, 116 touchdowns, and 46 picks. Joe Burrow has actually played in more games, 69 total games. He has thrown for 19